the All-Star Game, the American League Championship Series, and the World Series. America's grand game is on Fox.
We are Fox Sports!
The entire baseball world can't wait for these teams to head out there. You have got to be kidding.
The greatest rivalry in the history of baseball, the Cardinals and the Cubs.
Here we go. Belichick and A-Rod, as if this game needed any more emotion.
Boom, hits it to deep left. The hero in Game 7.
The biggest comeback in postseason baseball history. One of the fiercest rivalries in all of sports.
Welcome to the DirecTV pregame show on Fox. Follow your favorite MLB team no matter where you live with DirecTV. And if you had DirecTV last night, you saw a classic at Fenway. 2 down in the 9th, man on for Jason Bay. Delivers off of Mariano Rivera. 12th blown save off of Rivera against the Sox, most against any one team. He hates that episode of Baywatch, and we are on to extras. We're in the 11th. Baseball's leading hitter, Kevin Youkilis. Looking more and more like John Malkovich's character, Cyrus in Con Air, with the game winner, and the Red Sox win it 5-4. So just a few hours later, the fans are back on this beautiful New England afternoon for this classic rivalry. Old friends down in Florida, A.J. Burnett and Josh Beckett going at it today. Beckett back from a 5-game suspension for throwing over the head of the Angels' Bobby Abreu. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Rivalry Saturday here on Fox. It's all presented by DirecTV. I'm Chris Rose, coming your way live from Fenway Park. Red Sox and Yankees, or the Cubs and Cards, coming your way in mere moments. But right now, at the top of the show, we're going to welcome in a guy that Boston fans want to see at the end of today's game. Let's get to know Red Sox all-star closer Jonathan Papelbon a little bit better. When did you realize Yankees-Red Sox was a different kind of series?
Day one, from the very beginning, no question about it. It's a passion that's driven by pure hatred.
Now, you went to Mississippi State as a first baseman. Which of your teammates could you definitely take deep over the Green Monster?
All of them.
Beckett?
Oh, Beckett, all of them.
You could touch Wakefield's knuckler?
I already told Wakefield that actually in spring training. He got a little off at me, but I'm an athlete, man.
You know, most people on their honeymoon, maybe they go to Hawaii, maybe they go to Europe. Where'd you go?
How did you know about this? I went to St. Lucia. It was actually a living hell.
You went to Disney World, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, Disney World, too.
Do you have the Mickey ears still?
Yeah. I still got them.
Let's be honest. How many rides could Pedroia get on without parental supervision?
I don't know. Isn't it like 56 inches, the height requirement?
And so?
Yeah, so probably 0.
And those fans back in New York that are awaiting your arrival for the first time at brand new Yankee Stadium, looking to the camera, what do you want to say to them?
Can't wait to see you guys.
Hey, New York fans, you don't have to wait to have Papelbon come to New York in order to see him. He's just a click away. Log on to foxsports.com for more of my interview with Jonathan Papelbon. And while you're there, you can read the works of Ken Rosenthal. Kenny, a lot of injury news for the Yankees. They put on the DL Cheng-Ming Wong and Brian Bruni, both pitchers, and A-Rod's replacement, Cody Ransom. What's the biggest injury of those three?
Bruni, Chris, and they're hoping that elbow will keep him down only 15 days. But without him, the Yankees lack a clear setup man. The good news is that Alex Rodriguez, remember him?
I do remember him.
Okay, he could be back in minor league games starting on Friday and could return by May 8th.
Injury news for the Cubs as well.
Yes, Carlos Marmol, MRI on his knee today, showed only a minor sprain. He could be out only a few days. Same goes for Aramis Ramirez and Milton Bradley. Both are available, but only to pinch hit. So, what this means is that the Cubs right now do not have a backup infielder. We could see, if there's a double switch, Alfonso Soriano back at second base.
Look out below if that happens. Dr. Rosenthal, thank you very much. Continue to read your work on foxsports.com. Coming up next, Red Sox and Yankees. Sox going for their 9th straight win. Some of you will see Albert Pujols and the Cards take on Derek Lee and the Cubs. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV. First pitch is next.
You're watching Major League Baseball on Fox.
Welcome to an absolutely gorgeous afternoon at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, as we renew this rivalry between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Joe Buck. That is Tim McCarver. And last night was proof positive yet again that when these two teams get together at Fenway, anything can happen in that 5-4 win for the home team in 11 innings. And now today, a very good pitching matchup, two similar type pitchers in A.J. Burnett and Josh Beckett.
Two dominant right-handers, and if they bring their A game today, you won't see better stuff from any two right-handers in the major leagues. A.J. Burnett has never been beaten by the Red Sox, and everybody knows about the prowess of Josh Beckett in the big game. And anytime the Yankees and Red Sox meet, it's a big game.
So off we go, and here we are, Fenway Park on a Saturday afternoon. You know the faces by now. Here they are, some newcomers to this rivalry. The first pitch. Chris might have said this a moment ago, but I promise it's next. Hey, reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. And the great American rivalry continues between these two. Here is a look at the Yankee lineup. It's brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Derek Jeter leads it off. Johnny Damon, the former Boston outfielder. Mark Teixeira, first year in a Yankee uniform. Nick Swisher cleans it up. Then Robinson Cano, Jorge Posada, Hideki Matsui is the DH. Angel Baroa just came up and was added to the roster. And Brett Gardner is batting in the 9th spot in center field. And here is Josh Beckett, who is so far 2-1 and coming off that suspension he got as a result of that pitch up and in on Bobby Abreu back on April 12th. Glad you're with us. Away we go. Ball one. So it's Beckett and Burnett. It's the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it's New York 9-7 to start the season. Boston 10-6, and they've won 8 straight. And there are the numbers so far for Beckett. And a ground ball. What a good play by Lowell. Bad hip and all. 1 out. Made a terrific diving stop in last night's game to his right, and now makes a play to his left.
Boy, this is big time. Mike Lowell, not even a step. That's how hard the ball was hit. And from his knees, throws out Jeter.
Talked to Terry Francona, the manager of the Red Sox, prior to the game, and asked him if he's been at least a little surprised with the stamina and strength that Lowell has shown after having that hip surgery. Went through similar type procedure as Alex Rodriguez, had the same type injury, and he said, yeah, a little bit. The only game he didn't play was the back end of that doubleheader, and he's been able to answer the bell every day. Might have lost a step with his speed, but so what? He's hitting the ball great and playing terrific defense, as he's shown the last 2 games.
And he was never fast anyway, said Terry.
1 ball, 1 strike on Johnny Damon. There's Terry Francona, who was Damon's manager when the Red Sox won it all back in 2004. Here's a 1-1 from Beckett. Strike 2. Damon now and Teixeira on deck. And Joe Girardi in his 2nd year as manager of the Yankees. Two and two. Injuries have already hit this Yankee club very hard, and over the last 24 hours they've made a number of roster moves. And as you heard Kenny Rosenthal talk about prior to this game on our pregame show, one of the big losses is the guy who's been setting up Rivera, Brian Bruni. He's got a bad elbow and is on the DL. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Up and away, full count. They play Damon to hit it the other way. Teixeira next, and a 3-2 pitch from Beckett. He's ripped into center field for a 1-out base hit. Take a look at the scouting report for the right-hander Josh Beckett, who works with 1 on, 1 out.
Joe, we talked about that intimidating presence of Beckett on the mound, and ho-hum, fastball, curveball, slider, and change. No big game pitcher that's active today really combines those 4 elements, the fastball, curve, slider, and change, any better than Beckett.
Here is Teixeira.
Get the feeling this is like a boo fest here. You know, the first three batters, Derek Jeter for obvious reasons, Damon was a Red Sox, and now Mark Teixeira.
And a ball up and away. Teixeira was courted by the Red Sox. They had a meeting in Texas over the offseason. There's a chance they could get a deal done. They didn't. They offered $170 million. The Yankees signed Teixeira for $180 million. That's up and away. The interesting part of it, though, is the Red Sox really didn't commit any long-term money to anybody after they did not lock up Teixeira. So consequently, they don't have a ton of money already on the books for 2010. Expect a leaner payroll. They have a real good core of young players here for Terry Francona, and they continue to add to it. But what it did point out, Tim, is what's kind of played out here in the early going. They didn't know what they were going to get out of David Ortiz, who had a down year last year, very poor postseason, is off to a slow start, doesn't have a home run yet. It's their first full year without Manny Ramirez. They were looking for somebody to sit in that 3 or 4 spot in the lineup, and they didn't get it. And now a walk to Teixeira puts 2 on with 1 out here in the first inning, and a chance for Nick Swisher.
Well, Jason Bay answered some of that criticism last night with the 2-run home run to tie it, and then Youkilis, of course, won it in the 11th inning. But the Red Sox have put, I think, the emphasis on the right area, primarily pitching, signing Brad Penny and John Smoltz, and waiting in the wings. And I mean, he's not too far away as Daniel Bard, the young right-hander, who is now pitching in Pawtucket, and he is supposed to be something.
A legitimate 100-mile-per-hour pitcher.
Right.
With great stuff, who Francona says already looks like a big leaguer. Here is Swisher with 2 on, 1 out. A chance for the Yankees and a strike from Beckett. Swisher off to a great start in his first year with New York. Hit just .219 last year, but here he is at .302 with 4 homers and 12 RBIs. Good breaking ball for strike 2. He's doing everything right. He even got to ring the opening bell. New York Stock Exchange on Thursday, April 23rd, and the market was up. The Dow went up. I hope he rings it every day next week. Keep ringing it.
We all do.
Runners on at first and second with 1 out, and 0-2 count on Nick Swisher. Ball up and away. Yeah, the Red Sox have more options because of their depth and because of their farm system with guys. You talked about Bard, who's waiting in the wings. Well, tomorrow night starter Justin Masterson is a guy who can start, who could set up, maybe even could close if they didn't have a guy like Papelbon, or if something should happen. Who knows where he will spend the majority of his time here in 2009, what role. He can do any of it.
That's a cross-up right there.
Wow.
See Jason Varitek looking for the fastball. He got the curveball. Watch Varitek's reaction behind home plate. Whoa! Jason saying, we've got to talk. If you're looking for the express and you get the local, it's much better than the other way around.
Pretty long conversation for a second sign.
Yeah.
Well, for the Red Sox, at least Varitek caught it somehow and kept the runners at first and second and keeps the double play alive. Here's a chance for Swisher. The count was against him, 0-2. Now it's even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cano on deck. And a grounder to first is a foul ball, just foul. Calling that ball foul is the crew chief of this group, Gary Cederstrom. He's at first. Behind the plate today is Jim Wolf. Brian O'Nora is out at second base, and Fielden Culbreth is at third. One of the few guys named Fielden to umpire in the big leagues. Lead runner is Johnny Damon. The trail runner is Teixeira. And first inning trouble for Beckett. He's 4-1 in his last 5 starts against the Yankees. Another 2-2. And another foul.
Yankees coming out swinging today, and it is very difficult when you lose a ball game like the Yankees lost last night. Joe Girardi, you could almost see it on his face last night. The 2-run home run to tie it by Jason Bay off Mariano Rivera, and anytime the Yankees see Mariano Rivera blow a save, it's shocking to them because he doesn't do it that often.
I think it's surprising to any baseball fan to witness something like that. The Yankees had won 86 consecutive games when leading after 8 until last night. The 2-2. Another foul. Good at bat by Swisher. This will be the 20th pitch of this first inning for Beckett coming here. He originally got a 6-game suspension after Abreu had called time in that game out in California, and then Beckett threw it up and in around the head of Abreu. They reduced it to 5 games. Beckett still had an appeal on the books and then pulled it back and served his 5 games, which did not really cost him a start. Pushed him back a day, and here he is on Saturday. Here is a 2-2 pitch. Yet again to Swisher. And down and away. So from 0-2 to 3-2, and a little erratic here at the start for Beckett.
I think a situation where Damon's going to be running, Mark Teixeira running. You're the catcher in this situation, and Swisher swings and misses. You may opt to go to second base instead of third because the faster runner's on at second.
Runners are not going, and Swisher with a base hit into center field. Here comes Damon. Throw by Ellsbury is cut off, and the Yankees score first here this afternoon. Swisher stays hot. He's reached in all 17 games that he's played in with the Yankees, and it's 1-0 New York here in the first.
Josh Beckett going behind home plate to back up, and he said something to Veritek on the way back out to the mound. He may have shaken him off. A lot of times pitchers won't shake with their head. They'll stare a catcher off and just stare and stand on the mound until the catcher changes the sign. But this is Beckett coming from behind home plate and whispering something to Veritek.
So the runners at first and second, 1 out for Cano. He's off to a great start, hitting .354 here in April. And the ball misses away. So the Yankees have scored to have a chance for more, and will have A.J. Burnett on the mound. And he has been the stopper in the rotation so far for Joe Girardi. Cano is a career .351 hitter here at Fenway Park. And he has the count in his favor, 2-0. Everything has been away to these left-handed hitters from Beckett. Switch hitting Posada on deck. .2-0 pitch is popped foul, and that ball will get out of play.
That's what happens when you're falling behind in the count. You have to keep the ball away because no good pitcher wants to come inside with a count 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. So when you fall behind, you really take the inside part of the plate away from the pitcher, or he takes it away from himself.
There are the numbers for Cano against Beckett. A .333 average with a home run and 3 strikeouts. 2-1 pitch. Late swing and strike 2. Somebody just paid a lot of money to get a thrill right in front of the Yankee dugout as that foul ball hit the padding right in front of that guy, who is hoping his heart rate returns to normal. And meanwhile, the guy in the corner is the 100-year-old bat boy, Arthur Giddens. Here's a little pop-up into center field, and Ellsbury is there. 2 out as Cano flies to center. They celebrated Arthur Giddens here before the game. He's the honorary bat boy. He was a 13-year-old bat boy for the Boston Braves back in 1922. Got to meet Babe Ruth, among some of the other legends of this game. In Bloomfield, Connecticut, celebrating birthday number 100, and right there in the corner right by the Yankee dugout, there he sits, 100 years old tomorrow.
What a sweet story.
He has been a media darling here the last couple of days. Here's Posada. 2 on with 2 out. Beckett trying to keep this a 1-run first. And that one's at least inside to a left-handed batter, but it missed. Ball 1. Posada hitting .283, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, and trying to capitalize on a chance to add to this lead. Another ball, and again another batter where Beckett falls behind. Yankees left 15 runners on last night. We're 4 for 19 with runners in scoring position in game 1 of this 3-game set. Here's a 2-0. And ball 3. And this has been a serious effort for Beckett here in the first inning this afternoon.
He has fallen behind all 6 hitters he's faced. And generally speaking, you're not going to win that way. And of course, Josh knows that.
John Farrell is pitching coach watching as strike 1 makes it 3-1. Two hits in the inning, a walk to Teixeira. Swisher with the RBI, he's at first. And a little looper into left field might fall. This ball's a hit, another run. Teixeira scores without a play, and it's 2-0 New York.
That's that pitch away, Joe, that you were talking about. Jason Bay having to respect Posada's power, but a good piece of hitting by Posada, going to left field on that tailing fastball, and it plopping right in front of Jason Bay as the Yankees tack on.
So here's John Farrell out to talk. And Beckett with that brief meeting with his catcher and his pitching coach, coming off a 2-1 victory against Baltimore his last time out, but he's thrown more out of the strike zone than in it, and he's paid for that here in the first inning.
Everybody talks about the fundamentals of baseball, and they rarely mention the fundamentals of pitching. Well, the fundamentals of pitching start with strike 1. It's the most important pitch of any at bat, and Beckett has not had that so far in the first inning.
Now Matsui gets out of the way of one inside and around the ankles. Ball 1. So now 1 for 7 with first pitch strikes. Lead runner is Swisher at second, with Jorge Posada the runner at first. That's low. 2-0. They are jammed into Fenway Park here this afternoon. They continue to try and add seats here. They've added more seats out in right field and that pavilion area, and they will have 480 consecutive sellouts by the end of this day. A streak that started back in May of 2003 here at Fenway. Here's a 2-0. Good pitch from Beckett, 2-1. Fooled Matsui, who is 6 for his last 14 swinging the bat.
Matsui with that bad knee. Kevin Long, the hitting instructor of the Yankees, saying that he's trying to start things so early so his knee doesn't hurt, and that was one of those swings. Exactly what Kevin Long was talking about.
He's had operations on both knees. The more recent one is left knee, which is that back knee. Supplies a lot of the power as he's up on the count here, 3-1.
Hideki had that drained last week. Fluid building up.
Good spot to hit here. 3 balls and a strike. 2 on with 2 out. Beckett has to bring it in, and Matsui grounds to first. Easy play for Youkilis. The Yankees get 2 RBIs by Swisher and Posada. Base hit by Damon. RBI hit Swisher. Posada got the second run home after a half at Fenway. 2-0 New York. We welcome you back to Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV. Follow your favorite MLB team no matter where you live with DirecTV. Take a look at the Red Sox lineup. It's brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Jacoby Ellsbury leads off. Dustin Pedroia, the reigning MVP, bats the number 2 spot. Then David Ortiz. Kevin Youkilis, J.D. Drew, Jason Bay in the middle. Mike Lowell is at third. Jason Varitek is the catcher. And Nick Green is the shortstop. Third man on the depth chart. They're down to Nick Green, and he's played well. And here is A.J. Burnett, another big-priced free agent added over the offseason. And so far, Tim, well, I want to throw Pettit in there, but Burnett has given the Yankees all they have needed with every start he's made.
Absolutely. Our scouting report, exhilarating stuff, and that's the perfect word for him, the action through the strike zone. And he has been perfect against the Sox. He's 5-0 for his career in 8 games against Boston and 3-0 here at Fenway.
Jacoby Ellsbury is first up. And A.J. Burnett, who was a teammate of Josh Beckett's, back with the Florida Marlins, misses up and away, ball 1. A strike. 94-mile-an-hour fastball poured in by this right-hander who spent the early years with the Florida Marlins, 3 years with the Toronto Blue Jays, and 10 times has been on the disabled list. Ellsbury fights it off and flips it into left for Damon. 1 out. How good has A.J. Burnett been against the Boston Red Sox? Well, he's 5-0 in his career, ERA of 2.5 in 8 starts, and at Fenway even better, 3-0 with an ERA of 0.4 in 3 starts. And right now he has gone 16 straight innings without allowing an earned run here at Fenway Park to the Red Sox. Here's Pedroia. Dustin is hitting .284, which is saying a lot, Tim, considering how he started this season. He's the reigning AL MVP, Gold Glove Award winner, and he is really one of the little fighters on this club or any club across Major League Baseball.
Pound for pound, as feisty as they get.
And up on the count here, 2-0. How about this? AL Rookie of the Year. Won the World Series in 07. Last year did it all. Silver Slugger Award as well. Was a starter in the All-Star game. And despite all that, when he first came to the big leagues, Terry Francona didn't know that he would ever hit. 2-1.
I remember that 2 years ago when Pedroia had that atrocious April. And Terry telling us we were doing a game in late April and saying, well, our scouts say this guy can play, so we're going to try to stay with him as long as we can. And they're glad they did.
Here's a 2-1 into right field. Another hit for Pedroia, who is red hot. 1 on, 1 out. Now an 8-game hitting streak for Dustin Pedroia.
You don't think he's going to get through the zone, that strike zone, but he always makes it. The great record producer Jerry Wexler used to tell me that the two singers that never seem to get through the zone is Frank Sinatra and Ray Charles. They never seem to be able to catch up with the tune. Pedroia is that way from a hitter's standpoint. You don't think he's going to be able to make it, but he always gets there.
And here's a guy who has not been making it, at least power-wise, production-wise, for the Red Sox, David Ortiz. Listed at 33 years old, and there are some grumblings around the Red Sox that maybe age has caught up to a guy who has been not only one of the most productive, but one of the most clutch hitters that this game has seen in a long time. Now working without his former teammate Manny Ramirez, and sitting in that number 3 spot in this Boston Red Sox lineup, looking for his first home run. Instead, he grounds to Jeter, who will step and throw for the double play. Score at 6-3. We'll talk more about Big Papi next time around. We go to the second at Fenway, 2-0 Yankees. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV, and sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Carfax, free at your used car dealer. Just say, "Show me the Carfax." Statue for Paul Revere, and here this other landmark, Fenway Park. A fastball for a strike from Beckett. Angel Baroa leading it off. Trying to find some production out of the third base position in this lineup for the Yankees until A-Rod comes back, and that date is continually getting pushed up. At least that's the word around the Yankees. They won't officially say it, as Baroa grounds out to Mike Lowell, 1 away here in the second inning. Originally they slated Alex Rodriguez for a May 15th return, and now you hear maybe even a week earlier than that, as he started to run the bases. He's doing everything except sliding to this point, and he may get into games this week. Trying to rehab from that hip surgery. Here is Brett Gardner. And a strike from Beckett.
I'm surprised that the Yankees have moved that up, particularly in this day and age, where teams, if they err on the side of caution.
Well, I would say the Yankees, in their defense, will say, well, we haven't officially moved up that timetable, but they don't really fight it like they did even as recently as last week. When you start talking about Rodriguez, they are very optimistic that he'll be back sooner rather than later, as strike 3 gives Beckett his first strikeout of the afternoon, and he caught Gardner looking for something other than a fastball.
You get the idea that when you're ahead, things like that happen. He was ahead of Baroa, got the ground out. He was ahead of Gardner, got the strikeout.
And now Jeter, who grounded out to third, and a good play by Lowell to his left, his first time up. 237 hits against Boston, most by any active player. He's played in over 2,000 games in his career overall, and he has strike 1 here in the second. 4 home runs in his first 59 at bats this season, his best start power wise since '99. He started this afternoon hitting .290.
Derek turns 35 years old in 2 months and 1 day, June 26th.
What are you thinking about getting him?
Huh?
What are you thinking about getting him?
I thought that's what you asked.
There's a 2-out base hit to center. I mean, according to Ben Affleck and other Red Sox fans, you and I are big admirers of Derek, so I think we should get him something. Major League Baseball and People magazine are looking for individuals who have made a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2009 All-Star Game in St. Louis. To nominate, go to peopleallstars.com. What do you get the man who has everything? Can't get him cologne. He has some of his own.
5 more years in a Yankee uniform. I think that's what Derek Jeter would like. But the reason I brought that up is no team has won a World Series with a shortstop 35 years or older since the Brooklyn Dodgers did it in 1956 when Pee Wee Reese was their shortstop.
Out of play, strike 2. Understand the New York Jets with the 5th pick just got a present, traded up and got Mark Sanchez, the quarterback out of USC. That is a big get for the New York Jets. And an exciting young player that scouts just rave about. Little light on experience, but heavy on talent, and he will be a Jet. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Up and away from Beckett, ball 1. Beckett had a long first inning, 36 pitches. He's thrown 10 so far here in the second inning. And he's 1-2 on Johnny Damon, who singled and scored his first time up. Good breaking ball and a pop-up right side, shallow right center for Pedroia, called off by Ellsbury. And we go to the bottom of the second. How about a snuggie? We could get Derek Jeter a snuggie for that upcoming birthday. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV, is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. We move into the bottom of the second inning, and the Red Sox will have Kevin Youkilis, J.D. Drew, and then Jason Bay. We talked earlier about no Manny Ramirez. Less production to this point from David Ortiz, and the Red Sox will try to ride Jason Bay and this guy for sure. The cleanup hitter who was off to a .433 start, Kevin Youkilis, who just, Tim, seems to get better every year.
It's better in the most unusual way. I have never really seen a hitter hit exactly like Youkilis, but Kevin leads the American League in 3 different categories: batting average, slugging percentage, on base percentage. It starts that hand and the small of the bat in the back, kind of leisurely brings it toward the other hand.
To the left side, Baroa. Wide throw, but out, 1 away. So Youkilis grounds out, and J.D. Drew, who was bothered by a bad back at the start of spring training, got an injection back there and is feeling pretty good ever since. Digs his way in, hitting .265. 3 homers, 7 RBIs, and trying to get on in front of Jason Bay. A strike over the outside corner. Beckett is the 32-year-old right-hander, rather Burnett. Signed a 5-year deal and is locked up by the Yankees through 2013. That skips in, a ball and a strike. AJ was drafted by the Mets actually in the 8th round back in 1995. Was traded for Al Leiter in '98. Came up with Florida in '99 and threw a no-hitter with the Marlins in 2001 at San Diego. A game that featured 9 walks. By his own admission, he was more of just a thrower then and now more of a pitcher, and a guy who has taught him, or did teach him, a lot about preparation and how to work effectively at this level is his former teammate Roy Halladay, the outstanding right-hander for the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's a 1-2. Breaking ball is low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It looks like Ken Rosenthal, the Yankees, got a guy, didn't get the headlines that Sabathia got, but so far he's been a stopper for this New York club.
Yes, he has, Joe. And I spoke this week with his former pitching coach in Toronto, Brad Arnsberg. And he said the difference with AJ now is that he has accepted that he is a power pitcher. Power pitchers walk people. Power pitchers occasionally hit batters. And Burnett has learned that, hey, that's going to happen. In his last start against Cleveland, 7 walks, but he still produced a quality start.
You want to read more from Ken Rosenthal? You can go to foxsports.com. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Drew. That's low. AJ is a guy who has toted around his extra baggage, that label of a guy who gets hurt too much. 10 times on the DL, went through Tommy John surgery earlier in his career. 3-2 pitch and a foul ball.
Most pitchers cannot pitch around walks, but A.J. Burnett can. For instance, he can walk 2 guys in an inning, and they're not necessarily a sign that a team's going to score against him. He can get the strikeout. He can get the ground ball double play. Just overpowering stuff.
That just missed, and a 1-out walk. Well, so far, Burnett has followed Chien-Ming Wang to the mound. That's the way they were stacked by the Yankees, and because Wang in his last 2 starts, he was skipped and then eventually disabled yesterday on the DL. Wang went 1 inning 2 starts ago, an inning and a third last Saturday at home against Cleveland. They've asked Burnett for not only a win, but for a lot of innings, and so far Burnett has given the Yankees exactly that. And when you compare what Chien-Ming Wang has done to the other starters, the rest of the group 5-1 in 13 starts, decent ERA. Wang is bothered by and disabled for an issue in his hips. Here is Bay with a line drive into right, well hit, but right at Swisher. He didn't move. 2 out. Talked to Joe Girardi about Wang, and he said, I just feel like Wang forgot what it felt like to have a strong backside when he's throwing and strong legs, which is vital to a pitcher's success.
Injuring his foot last June in Houston. So it was about an 8-month period where he did not compete, didn't pitch. Last June to this March. And the Yankees do not think he has strength on that right side of his body.
And not only did he not pitch, he didn't run.
No.
He did not work out his legs, and that has led, the Yankees believe, to the decrease in his velocity. And as Girardi said, a guy who has suffered an issue in his spine and really ultimately was the end of his playing career, he said you forget what it feels like to feel good, and while Chien-Ming Wang may contend that he's not hurt, he's just not strong. Good pitch from A.J. Burnett, strike 2.
That's a breaking ball unlike any right-hander in the American League, with the possible exception of Gil Mesh of the Kansas City Royals.
Drew on at first, 2 out, and a 1-2 count. And again, he just made a hot hitter look lost.
No contest.
First strikeout for A.J. Burnett. Gets around the walk. 2-0 New York after 2. Back after this from your local Fox station.
You're watching Major League Baseball on Fox.
Well, this season, fans can use Twitter to stay connected to Fox Baseball. Followers receive alerts to original video and columns posted at foxsports.com, backstage photos, and insights from Fox's baseball announcers as we tweet throughout the week. Follow us at twitter.com/MLB on Fox. First pitch is a strike, and now the next 2 to Teixeira is up and away, a ball and a strike. Chris Rose, who is here with us doing our pregame, is tweeting, which is the proper conjugation of the verb Twitter, as we speak, as the count goes up and away, 2-1.
Somebody was an English major at Indiana.
Evidently. By the way, your caricature looks like
yeah, that was terrible.
Looks more like Pete Rose.
Yeah, that was terrible. I need to go back to the art department for a second, I think.
Maybe a combination of Pete Rose and Scott Boras. Up and away, 3 balls and a strike.
Bank account not as solid as either.
No.
By the way, I have to tweet. I have to keep guys like Sabathian, Damon, and Papelbon, all NFL fans. I have to keep them updated on NFL picks.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
And that's Rosenthal up in the top.
Yeah, how's that looking?
I don't know. That's shot down the right field line and hooking foul. It's the way Bob Myers, our artist, sees Ken Rosenthal, who evidently to Bob looks a lot like Norman Fell from Three's Company. Or maybe Andy Williams.
Tim, are you happy with your caricature on the tweet?
Yes and no.
What don't you like? We can have it changed.
Cheeks.
Look rugged. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Teixeira leading off, and a walk for the second time in this game.
I don't know that rugged would be one of the descriptions that I would choose.
Here's Nick Swisher. Nick with an RBI single his first time up. Swisher added to that .302 average, and Chris has done these great pieces. Chris Rose before these games. He did one last week with Orlando Hudson, today with Jonathan Papelbon, who is outstanding and fun to talk to. And Swisher's the kind of guy that you could talk to every week. Runner on at first with nobody out. And a ball drifts down and away. So Beckett, who started to get ahead of hitters in the second and then eventually gave up a 2-out hit to Jeter, got around it, walked to Teixeira, and falls behind on the count to Swisher. There's a good breaking ball from Beckett. Ball and a strike. Yankees coming off a 4-2 homestand. They split with Cleveland, won 2 games in a shortened series against the A's. This homestand that was talked about for the home runs that were hit at the new facility as much as the scores were talked about, as strike 2 is into Swisher, 1-2.
Yeah, suitably, the last game of that homestand was won by the Yankees. A 2-run shot by Melky Cabrera in the bottom of the 14th inning on Thursday.
The count's 1-2 on Swisher. Teixeira on at first and Swisher out in front of that pitch. Still 1-2. So the studies are ongoing. They did a wind study and tried to go through the scenarios and mock up whatever they could to try and see how the ball would carry at the new Yankee Stadium. And now that they've got the 6 games under their belts, and we've heard people chime in from AccuWeather and people blogging and people from all corners of the earth about the way the ball carries at Yankee Stadium. That'll be a topic as we go through 2009, no doubt.
Yankees tickled to death they could come to Fenway and play in a big ballpark.
At least the pitching staff. Last night it was Jason Bay's home run that tied it, that we've talked about a couple of times already, and he took it out into left center field and got it over the top of the monster to tie the game. And then Kevin Youkilis hit a blast against Marte to win it in the 11th. Another 1-2 pitch to Nick Swisher, and a strikeout for Beckett, his second of the game. 1 on, 1 out.
Last 2 innings, Beckett has corralled that curveball. That is a wicked, tightly wrapped curve to get Swisher.
And so strikeout number 2 as they hang another K, and the batter will be Cano. This is a New York Yankees lineup that has nobody in the top 10 in the American League in any of the major hitting categories. Cano may be the closest to it. starting the day at 3:54 as he's out in front of this ball down the right field line. It's gone. 2-run home run for Robinson Cano. Hits the pesky pole in right, and it's 4-0 New York here in the third.
We talked about the tightly wrapped breaking ball to Swisher. You talk about a guy who waited and went down and got a good curveball on the inside part of the plate. But Cano waiting till the last minute, flicks those wrists, and takes Beckett deep. That's not a bad curveball to be hit that far.
And Cano just loves to hit here at Fenway Park. A .351 career hitter, best among active players in the big leagues, and that's his 6th home run here at Fenway. And a breaking ball is at the back foot of Posada, ball 1, and there's the reaction of Beckett, who had trouble with the home run ball in his first year with the Boston Red Sox. That has calmed down the last couple, and a strike is into Posada, 1-1. With 1 out, nobody on, the next to Posada, ball 2, 2-1. First year with the Red Sox, Beckett allowed 36 home runs. That's hard to believe for a guy with as good a stuff as Josh Beckett has. That was back in '06. He's allowed 36 total since then, in the last 2+ years, and that's up the middle. A sharply hit base hit to center by Posada. 1 on, 1 out. And now Matsui. So for 2 guys who were teammates with the Marlins and good friends hooking up here this afternoon, Beckett and Burnett. So far, A.J. Burnett is having all the fun, up 4-0, and he's allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, and struck out 1. Beckett, meanwhile, has allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. Here's Matsui. There's ball 1. We'll be talking to Joe Girardi during the next break, and eventually talk to Terry Francona as our afternoon wears on here at Fenway. We're in the third, and the Yankees have doubled their lead. To the right side, Pedroia goes to second, on to first, not in time. So they get the 1 on the force out, 4-6, and the throw by Nick Green back across was too late to turn 2.
Hideki Matsui back in 2002 hit 50 home runs for the Yomiuri Giants in Tokyo. He came to the United States the next year with a lot of celebrity, hugely popular in Japan. And the biggest problem he had was with the 2-seam fastball in 2003. That ground ball to second base. He just could not master it until about August of that year, and has done well, but he's fallen back into that 2-seam fastball out-making machine this year.
There's Baroa, takes a strike.
They don't throw a 2-seam fastball in Japan. Pitchers are used to throwing cross-seam fastballs, balls that have a tendency to go up, and not balls that tail away from left-handed batters.
Fooled was Baroa, and the count 0-2. Angel Baroa added to the roster for the Yankees today. Cody Ransom pulled his quad, his right quad, last night. He went on the disabled list, and Baroa added to the roster and starting today at third base. 0 for 1. Bounced out to third his first time, and that ball's smothered by Varitek.
Well, you might say, well, Ichiro Suzuki, the brilliant outfielder of the Seattle Mariners, came over here and coped with the 2-seam fastball. But Ichiro had the speed to get the infield hits with that pitch. Hideki Matsui doesn't have the speed and never has had a lot of speed. So it's a lot more difficult for him coping with that pitch.
Here's a little flare into right. That ball's going to fall for a base hit. Matsui will keep going to third. First and third with 2 out on a base hit to right by Baroa. So bad knees and all, Matsui hustled down the line to avoid the double play, and now after the hit by Baroa, the Yankees have first and third, 2 out, and a chance for more. And another speed guy digs in. That's Brett Gardner. Say another speed guy, really the only real speed guy in this lineup for the Yankees, and the main reason why he is the starting center fielder for Joe Girardi. Beckett's already up to 70 pitches for his day. Strike one. This is for the most part a station to station type lineup for Joe Girardi. And what Gardner brings is a change in defense. He makes infielders move around, and he can put pressure on infielders with the kind of speed he has as he takes strike 2.
It's always tougher to retire that third out when you have a speed guy at the plate and a runner on at third base, because of the danger of the infield hit, much greater with Gardner than any of the other Yankees.
Here's an 0-2 and a ground ball up the middle. Pedroia flips for the out, and that's it for New York. A leadoff walk to Teixeira with 1 out. Robinson Cano hit a curveball off the pole in right. 4-0 New York after 2.5. We continue on here at Fenway Park, and now in the bottom of the third, it's 4-0 New York after the 2-run home run by Robinson Cano. His hot start continues, and Jason Varitek takes a strike from A.J. Burnett. Did not know if last year was going to be the final year. Seeing Jason Varitek in a Boston Red Sox uniform, a slow roller. Burnett makes the play, 1 out, and it gives us a chance to play our interview with Joe Girardi during the break. And the first question was about his team getting up off the deck and responding here early after a tough loss here last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough loss, but you know you're going to go through games like this during the course of the season. We've already had a couple, and we've been able to bounce back. I mean, we had a tough one the first night we were in Tampa, and we were able to take 2 out of 3 there. And we've had to get up a couple times, and our guys have responded.
And the guy on the mound, A.J. Burnett, I mean, if you're going to respond behind somebody, the way you guys have come out of the gate, this is the guy that you're responding behind.
You know, he's been a big part of that. It seems that every time that we need some distance out of our starter and we need a win, he's been on the mound so far for us, and he's been really good for us.
And he does it so effortlessly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just amazed at how the ball comes out of his hand. You never see him like overthrow, and even when you just watch him play catch, the ball jumps out of his hand.
All right, Talladega is tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one driver who you think has the best shot at winning, who is it?
You know, I'm going to go with Jeff Gordon. And the other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to wish my beautiful wife of 19 years, Kim, a happy birthday.
All right, outstanding. Happy birthday, Kim, and thanks for your time, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Joe Girardi in his second year with the New York Yankees. Last year a third-place finish, and he's had to deal with a lot already here in 2009. So far, the Yankees off to a 9-7 start. Tomorrow it is a 1 o'clock start. The Talladega Super Speedway race right here on Fox. There you go. NASCAR Sprint Cup racing from Talladega tomorrow, 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And Joe Girardi is in a pool with a couple of the trainers and staff for the Yankees. Gene Monahan is the ringleader of that. They have a news and notes sheet that's printed out every week with statistical information and a trophy that they hand out at the end of the year for their own points leader. Girardi possesses that trophy. Here is a 2-0. That's in the dirt. 3-0 now. With 2 out and nobody on.
Speaking of statistical information, I would like to correct something I said a couple of innings ago about the 35-year-old or older shortstop that last won a World Series. That was in 1955 and not 1956.
Burnett's next is grounded foul outside third. Ellsbury fly to left his first time up. And so far Burnett has been in complete control. And a slow tapper, first base side foul. You can say the same for the guy going tomorrow. That's Andy Pettitte. 2-0 so far for the Yankees, and an interesting matchup with Justin Masterson, who's been taken out of the bullpen with the injury to Matsuzaka. Daisuke is trying to build up his arm strength. And Masterson came out of the bullpen. Matsuzaka went just an inning in his last start, really picked up his mates out in the pen, then went 5 1/3 for a win over Baltimore on Monday. And Terry Francona thinks he's a guy who's a candidate to stay in that rotation, but could do any of it. Here's a little pop-up on the right side. Cano is there. Cano is homered in this game. It's 4-0 New York as we go into the fourth. Jeter will lead it off for New York when we return to Fenway. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV, sponsored by Valspar Paint. Valspar, the beauty goes on. By Applebee's, it's a whole new neighborhood. And by Hyundai, Assurance Plus, because in times like these, we're all in this together. Fourth inning rolls in at Fenway, top of the order for New York, and that means Jeter, Damon, and Teixeira. Strike one on Jeter. On 0-1, Jeter takes ball one. 210 home runs now for Jeter in a Yankee uniform, number 10 on the Yankee all-time list. The 1-1 pitch is slapped foul out of play, strike two.
At last swing, however, that's Jeter's stroke. That inside out base hit stroke to right field, right center. Great two-strike hitter. Win a lot of home runs that way. He'll occasionally eke one over that right field wall, whether the old stadium or the new one.
A 1-2 is lined up the middle. Similar swing. Good result for Jeter. He's 2 for 3. Now a DirecTV game break. Follow your favorite MLB team no matter where you live with DirecTV. Chipper Jones takes Bronson Arroyo deep with 2 on and 2 out. Homer number 2 of the season for Chipper Jones. 6-0 Braves in a final of 10-2 in a win at Cincinnati. Chipper Jones is the guy who's been with his team the longest. He's been with the Braves for 16 years, and then you've got a trio of Yankees that have been with their pinstripes for 15 years. Here's a fly ball into right off the bat of Johnny Damon. 1 on, 1 out. And Mark Teixeira, in his first year in that Yankee uniform, digs in. How close, Ken Rosenthal, did the Boston Red Sox come to landing Mark Teixeira?
Fairly close, Joe. They could have signed him if they had gone to $176 million over 8 years, then added 2 options to bring the total payout to over $200 million over 10 years. Now, in the end, they just decided that would not have been a very sensible decision. But the reason they wanted Teixeira is because he was a young guy, relatively speaking, an all-around player, a switch hitter with power, Gold Glove defender at first. There's another free agent coming up, not this year, but the next year, who also fits that description, and that would be Twins catcher Joe Mauer. After 2010, he could hit the market at age 27.
Meanwhile, if the Red Sox picked up Teixeira, then that would have moved Youkilis over to third base. And what would that have meant, Ken Rosenthal, for Mike Lowell? Here goes Jeter, and Varitek couldn't get a handle on it. Still almost threw him out, but it's a stolen base, third of the year for Jeter. He's there with one out.
Joe, they would have traded Lowell under those circumstances. And of course, that did not sit too well with Mike Lowell, who had signed a 3-year deal with them. He had turned down a 4-year deal with the Phillies to stay in Boston, and yet here he was potentially on his way out.
And he has really rewarded the Red Sox for at least staying with him. They didn't end up making that deal, stretching out farther to get Teixeira, and Lowell's off to a great start, coming off the hip injury and surgery, and the count now 2-1 on Teixeira.
It has less to do with Teixeira and more to do with Mike Lowell and Kevin Youkilis, who, as we said, is leading the American League in 3 offensive categories.
Here's a 2-1. Teixeira takes a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Teixeira, who is slowed by tendonitis in his left wrist. Well, he's hit 3 home runs. His average .240, really hasn't hit the ball with much authority so far here in 09. Still trying to get right. But when he's in a groove, he's as good as you'll find, and may walk for the 3rd time in 3 plate appearances. As that one misses, it's a full count. Beckett will not pitch deep into this ball game at this pace, as he walks Teixeira for the 3rd time in this game. And it's 2 on with 1 out, and Nick Swisher coming up.
That was an odd delivery by Beckett. It was almost as though he used a slide step, and in that situation, 3-2 with Jeter on at second base. That is not the normal leg kick of Josh Beckett. Normally he has a higher leg kick, but that was a strange stride toward home to walk.
Was frozen, looking back and forth at Jeter at second.
That was the type of situation where Beckett threw at Bobby Abreu of the Angels, where he looked back at second, looked back. Abreu stepped out, and that was that ball up and in. The incident for which he was suspended for 5 days.
There's strike 3 over the inside corner. Tailing pitch. Swisher didn't like it. Strikeout number 3 for Beckett. 2 out.
Arms up fastball. Greg Maddux made this pitch as famous as any pitcher who's ever played the game. Arms go up. The ball goes under for strike 3.
And now Robinson Cano, with runners on at first and second, 2 out. Game number 2 of 18 this season between Boston and New York. The Red Sox, who got off to that 2-6 start, have won 8 in a row. Trail here by 4 this afternoon. Ball 1. How evenly have these games been since 2004? 101 meetings. The Yankees have won 51 of them. The Red Sox have won 50. They've split the 48 played here at Fenway. Here's a fly ball into left field, sending Bay back at the wall. This ball is off the monster. 1-run scores. Here comes Teixeira. 2 more runs for New York and a 6-0 fourth inning lead. Cano with 4 RBIs as he adds a 2-run double here in the 4th.
This is a fastball up and away. Sometimes if you're a hitter and you hit a breaking ball out of the ballpark, as Cano did his last time up, you can gauge what kind of pitch you're going to get from a pitcher the next time up. Cano got 2 fastballs, and that last fastball he hits off the monster in left field. Hitting instructors love to see a guy pull a ball down the line and then get a base hit the other way the next time up.
Here's a strike to Posada. He's 2 for 2 with an RBI. Cano now at second with 2 out, and this has been a disappointing start for Josh Beckett. Came in 2-1, trailing here 6-0 in the 4th, and just does not look all that sharp. 1 ball, 1 strike. Beckett with a count of 1-1. Posada takes a fastball, strike 2. Hideki Matsui would be next if Posada keeps this inning alive. A.J. Burnett, meanwhile, on the other side, has been coasting. He's faced only 1 over the minimum through 3. Here's a 1-2, and a breaking ball is looped into left, right at bay to end the inning. A big day for Robinson Cano. He's hit a 2-run homer, now a 2-run 2-out double to left. 6-0 New York after 3.5. A.J. Burnett now has a 6-0 lead as he attempts to up his record to 3-0. He's faced, as I mentioned, only 1 over the minimum. He's walked 1, allowed a hit, had a double play turn behind him. Here is Pedroia, and Dustin looks at ball 1. Pedroia made a great diving stop to his right last night in the 10th inning to rob Derek Jeter of an RBI single that would have given the Yankees the lead again, and it was a fast friendship that was formed between Pedroia and Jeter during the World Baseball Classic. Here's a 1-1. That's in at the knees, strike 2. After Pedroia, it'll be Ortiz and Youkilis, and the Red Sox trying to get something going just to jump back into this game. Blocked by Posada. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You talk about 2 guys, Derek Jeter and Dustin Pedroia, 2 guys who keep their noses clean and their uniforms dirty. That's a good combination.
Great representatives of these 2 franchises and this rivalry. 2-2 pitch. Still 2-2. Burnett coming off a career year last year with Toronto. Career high 18 wins. Career high 221 innings pitched. Led the American League in strikeouts with a career high 231. Opted out of his deal. Signed a free agent contract, a 5-year deal with New York. That's up and away. And a full count. On 3-2, Pedroia takes a walk. Good at bat by Dustin Pedroia. go for a game break and check in with, right here at Fenway, Chris Rose.
All right, Joe. Elijah Dukes this week fined $500 for being late to a Nats game because he was at a Little League game. Well, here he looks like a little leaguer against the Mets, allowing 2 runs to score. New York wins at 8-2. Nats are a big league worst 3-13. And remember to watch your favorite out-of-town team on DirecTV. Joe?
All right, Chris, thank you. 1 on, nobody out. And here is David Ortiz, 8 RBIs on the season. And getting tired of hearing questions about his lack of production. You talk to Terry Francona, he'll tell you that David Ortiz is between everything. He's out in front of the off-speed stuff, the breaking balls, and he's behind fastballs. And he really wants to see him go the other way with authority. He said if he goes the other way with something on it, makes good contact, and can drive the ball to left, good things are happening. There's Dave Magadan, the hitting coach for Terry Francona. 0-1 pitch. Check on Pedroia.
We've talked about that many times. The worst thing for a hitter to be is to be in between. The 2 elements of hitting that are most important, waiting and having quick hands.
Here is a pop-up. Foul territory, might be a play, and a good play by Posada. A long run to get there, and that's out number 1 here in the 4th.
That was an example of what Terry was talking about right there, Joe. David Ortiz takes the breaking ball, and then he's behind on the fastball. So again, an at bat where David Ortiz was caught in between.
Here's Youkilis. Grounded out to third his first time up, and the frustration continues, and it's written all over the face and in the body language of Big Papi.
Yep.
1 on, 1 out, and Youkilis bending out of the way of a breaking ball. It's strike 1.
Here are those 2 pitches, or we will have those 2 pitches. Here they are. The first pitch was a curveball. Knees buckle. Second pitch, a fastball, a good fastball, with Big Papi behind it. And a frustrating at bat continues.
Here's the 0-1. Skips in there, and Posada, a good job to block it. Ball 1. It is a warm day here in Boston. We're talking about maybe record highs for April 25th. But it might get up to 85. It was 83 at the start of this game, and down on the field it was warm in the sunshine, and the sun is now starting to be less of a factor in both the pitching mound and the home plate area in the shade. Here's a 1-1. Down and away.
Maybe April is not the cruelest month. This is a gorgeous day here in New England.
And it hasn't been for the at-bats for Youkilis. There have been a lot of good hitters across baseball this April with the cold temperatures who have really struggled. Youkilis is on the other list. The 2-1. And he adds another. Just hitting lasers all over the place. 2 on with 1 out. And the Red Sox hope that that's the start of something here in the 4th.
Familiar sound since coming up to the big leagues, and you talk about a guy who works intelligently and diligently at his craft. That's Kevin Youkilis.
But was quoted recently as saying, you know, in the past I've stressed too much about at bats, about games, and I'm trying to relax and have more fun. And it's something, if there is anything he's been criticized, has been that he's been a little too intense, a little too ready to knock over a cooler in the dugout, and he's trying to take some of that edge off. Boy, is he hot. 2 on, 1 out, and Drew out in front of that pitch from Burnett.
Looked like a straight changeup to J.D. Drew. Yeah, a lot of that tempering your personality comes with confidence and maturity.
Fastball high, ball 1. You look at this Yankee rotation. Burnett, Pettit have led the way. Sabathia's had one real good start. He's had trouble pitching deep into games so far as a Yankee. That's a strike. Wong is on the disabled list. Phil Hughes is waiting in the wings and probably will get the ball on Tuesday night at Detroit. He's 3-0 at AAA Scranton with an ERA of 1.86. On 1-2, that just missed. 2-2. The other guy that's on that list of pitchers in the rotation is Jabba Chamberlain, who worked here last night, got into the 6th, went only 5 1/3, allowed 2 runs on 9 hits, and had 4 double plays turned behind him. Here's a 2-2. Breaking ball misses. Burnett is frustrated, didn't get either of the last 2, and it's a full count.
Now Burnett forced into a situation where he has to throw a fastball. Predictable pitch to Drew with good power. One swing could put the Red Sox right back in this game.
That's ball 4 to load him up.
That's a bad pitch. That's a bad selection right there. 3 straight breaking balls to J.D. Drew on a 1-2, 2-2, and 3-2 count with a 6-run lead. That's that last breaking ball that stays away. He did not get the 1-2, 2-2 calls and that 3-2 pitch outside.
And now Bay, who was a hero last night, 1 on, 2 out, 9th inning. Mariano Rivera, Gaba. Tied it at 4. Youkilis won it in the 11th with his 5th home run of the season off Marte. Bases loaded for Jason Bay. Strike 1.
That is a body language shown by Mariano Rivera that you don't often see. Yankee fans don't often see. A game-tying home run in the 9th inning.
Fisk-esque.
Yeah.
Hoping for the opposite. Here's an 0-1 pitch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last night, Rivera hoping that ball hit high off the Green Monster, stayed in the park. Instead, it got over. Here's a 1-1 to Bay. Hard hit, base hit, left field. 1 run scores. Youkilis stopped at 3rd as Damon dropped it. The bases remain loaded. It's 6-1.
Now, Johnny Damon does not have a strong throwing arm, but keep in mind you're trailing by 5 runs. So once Youkilis is stopped by DeMarlo Hale at 3rd base, Hale started waving the arm. It was too late. As Youkilis looked back, he didn't see him. Now he looks back at Damon and doesn't see Hale. But with the 5-run lead, you really can't take a chance with 1 out there.
And any third base coach is not only looking at the situation in front of him, the scoreboard, but also who's coming up. Knowing who's up next, Mike Lowell, who has been red hot, has an 8-game hitting streak. He's been hitting .455 during those 8 games. Tied for 7th in the American League with his 16 RBIs. And here he is with the bases loaded in a 5-run game, only 1 out. Strike 1 from Burnett. The only out in this inning, a foul out by David Ortiz. 2 walks, 2 hits. Another good breaking ball from Burnett. It's 0-2. Lowell struck out on breaking balls his first time up, and now he can't pull the trigger. Might have been a wasted fastball up and away, and the count 1-2.
That's exactly what it was. He'll come back with a breaking ball, one would suspect.
Josh Beckett hoping for help. And a breaking ball to strike out Lowell. 2 away. And Lowell has looked lost against this pitch from A.J. Burnett.
That's the advantage of staying ahead. When you're ahead in the count, you'll get hitters to swing at pitches like that.
Now Jason Varitek, who grounded out his first time up. Last year hit just .220. 13 home runs, 43 RBIs. His deal was up, signed a 1-year deal with dual options for next year. But they brought their captain back. 2 grand slams on his resume, bases loaded, 2 out. And a shot into right. Well hit at the wall. Grand slam.
You remember when it was still a shutout, the 3-2 curveball, the J.D. Drew. He lost him, and that set up this.
First a strike on a swing by Nick Green, and here it is.
Fastball, first pitch, grand slam, Sox back in it.
And for Boston, their first grand slam since Dustin Pedroia did it against the Yankees last August 27th. Strike 2 on Green.
One swing of the bat, and Jason Varitek double his RBI output for the year. He had 4 before that swing, 8 after it.
A strikeout ends the inning. Big damage is done by Boston. Their captain brought him back into the ball game on a Saturday at Fenway. Grand slam Red Sox. 6-5 New York after 4. Hideki Matsui first up, first pitch swinging, and strike 1 on a foul off to the left. Matsui is 0 for 2. Baroa, then Gardner. And it's a 6-5 game. It was 6-0 with A.J. Burnett rolling, and a 2-out grand slam by Jason Varitek got this crowd buzzing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a 1-1. Low, 2 balls and a strike. Now Manny Del Carmen, the hard-throwing right-hander, is off to a great start this season, is getting loose in the bullpen. A bullpen that's been outstanding for the Red Sox during this 8-game winning streak. To the right side, Pedroia to his left. One out. Here's our visit with Terry Francona, Red Sox manager. We talked to him about that one swing of the bat by Veritek, bringing his ball club back into this game.
Yeah, Jace got us back into it now, and we got a long way to go. But at least we got a fighting chance now. It wasn't looking too good for a while there.
What have we seen from Josh Beckett so far here today?
You know, guys, I think if anything, I think he came out too strong. You know, he had the extra couple days, good velocity, good life on his fastball. But as we've seen the last 2 nights, they will not expand the strike zone, and they make you throw strikes, and then he's paid for it a few times.
I would imagine every time the Yankees leave town or you guys leave New York, there's some rest to be had for Terry Francona. These games are draining, aren't they?
Well, I think the players more than me, but yeah, they're long, and I think we beat up on each other a lot.
We appreciate your time. Thanks, Terry.
Okay, guys.
It's Terry Francona, who is in his 6th year here now with the Red Sox, as Baroa lines one into the sunshine and right at Euclid, 2 out.
I think if the score, excuse me, Joe, was still 6-0, I think Josh Beckett would be gone from the game and he wouldn't even start the top of the 5th. But since the Red Sox scored 5 runs as a reward to perhaps get him a win, I think that's the reason Beckett was sent back out there.
Trying to get through the 5 to qualify and then see what happens in the bottom of the inning when the Red Sox will have the top of their lineup against A.J. Burnett. Here's Gardner. Shows bunt, takes a strike. This could be one of the more efficient innings, and maybe the only perfect inning by Beckett in this game. He's not retired the side in order yet. The 0-1 to Gardner, the number 9 hitter, and that's in for a strike. 0-2. (101) pitches on the day for Beckett. Here's his 0-2. Still good jump and life to that fastball. Ball 1.
You almost feel or sense Beckett feeling that change in momentum with that 5-run 4th by the Red Sox.
Gardner hits one into center. A little stagger at the start by Ellsbury, but the first perfect inning by Beckett halfway through it at Fenway. Bottom of the 5th. Top of the order for Boston, down by 1. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Beautiful day, Fenway Park here in Boston, and a good game now. 6-0 is now 6-5. Yankees got 2 in the first, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth, and the Red Sox got 5, capped on a grand slam by Veritek. Top of the order for Boston. Here's Ellsbury 0 for 2. Ball 1 high. Pedroia will follow, and then David Ortiz. On 1-0. That's down and away. 2-0. Burnett has walked 3, struck out 3, and allowed 5 runs on 4 hits. Two and 1. Last time the Yankees lost a lead of 6 or more runs to the Red Sox and lost the game was mid-May 1968.
Man, how about that?
Here's a shot into right. This game is tied. And so the Yankees, who last night watched as Mariano Rivera blew a save in the 9th inning with 2 out, lost the game in the 11th, have now seen a 6-0 lead evaporate, and the go-ahead run is on with nobody out here in the 5th. Pedroia with a base hit, on base for the 3rd time this afternoon, and back to the home run.
Ahead in the count, and Ellsbury gets the fastball to tie it for the Sox.
First of the year for Jacoby Ellsbury. And right into the Yankee bullpen, which is now getting busy. Here's Ortiz. 0 for 2. Hitting just .209. Out in front of that pitch, strike 1. Here's the Hyundai in-game box score for Boston. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Ellsbury with the shot that just tied it. Pedroia has been on base 3 times with 2 hits and a walk. Ortiz not in on the fun. The big one, the number 8 hitter Varitek with a 2-out grand slam last inning to make it 6-5. It's now 6-6. Jose Veras getting loose for New York.
Joe, in a sense, the Red Sox can take solace in the fact that David Ortiz hasn't been hitting, and yet they've won 8 in a row. I mean, here's a team that started out 2-6 on the year.
Part of the formula over the 8-game winning streak, not just big hits by Youkilis and Bay and Pedroia doing his thing, Lowell, but a very diverse bullpen, all featuring different out pitches that's been assembled by Boston. And during this streak, the ERA has been very tiny. Only 4 runs allowed for the Red Sox bullpen over the last 33 1/3. And at some point here this afternoon, Terry Francona will have to dip back into that group out there beyond the wall.
3 left-handers, 5 right-handers. A very strong bullpen.
Two and 1 on David Ortiz. Now 3 and 1.
Another fastball count, almost like 3rd and long in football. You know you're going to pass. Well, Ortiz knows he's going to get the fastball.
Can he do anything with it? The opposite way, back toward the wall and off the green monster. Pedroia will hold at 3rd. It's a double for Ortiz. Second and 3rd, nobody out for Youkilis.
When Ortiz is hitting well, he is peppering the monster, as he did then.
And now a visit from Dave Island, the pitching coach for A.J. Burnett, who was dominant through the first 3 innings. And he has not just lost the lead, he's been hit rather hard the last inning plus. Has never lost to the Red Sox, 3-0 here at Fenway, with an ERA of .4, but a different story here today.
Yeah, the Sox have capitalized on the fastball, knowing it was coming. Jason Varitek guessing fastball with the bases loaded. 2-out grand slam, and then to tie it, Ellsbury on a 2-1 fastball.
Here's Youkilis again in another key spot for Boston. 2nd and 3rd, tie game. And this is where Burnett will Try and rear back and find his best stuff. He needs a strikeout. Pedroia at third, David Ortiz at second. Euclid checked his swing. 1-1.
I was just thinking, even with his success, he has thrown 3 wild pitches at breaking ball, often in the dirt. Good play by Posada to prevent the Red Sox from taking the lead for the first time in this game.
Ball 2. Euclid with a hit, a run scored. He's grounded out. The best average in baseball. 5 home runs, 13 RBIs. Drew hits behind him. On the inside corner, good pitch, 2-2.
Good fastball from Burnett.
Burnett has 3 strikeouts. And he hits Euclid to load him up.
Of all things, coming inside with the fastball, hitting Euclid on the left leg.
And now the bases are loaded for J.D. Drew. Drew has walked twice against Burnett. Out in front of that pitch, and the foul tip caught Posada. It's 0-1.
Now, in last night's ball game, the Yankees had a 4-2 lead in the top of the 9th inning. They had the bases loaded, nobody out. And the Red Sox got out of it with no runs. Robinson Cano hit into a 4-2-3 double play. And the Yankees are hopeful that the Red Sox return the favor today.
9 of the last Red Sox hitters have reached base. 9 of the last 12, and with the bases loaded, still nobody out. A visit from Posada to A.J. Burnett. Talked about how close this series has been, combining regular season and postseason since 2004, 51-50 in the wins department, and the runs relatively close. Split even, 24 wins, 24 losses for the Red Sox here at home. Ground ball to Teixeira, to home for 1, to first, double play, and a big 3-2-3 double play turned by the Yankees.
Deja vu. Last night it was the Red Sox who turned the double play, the 4-2-3 double play, and now a 3-2-3. The key on that was a strong throw home by Teixeira, and that allowed Posada to complete the play.
So now second and third for Jason Bay, who had an RBI hit his last time up. He's had a couple of good swings against Burnett in this game. Made an out his first time on a line drive to right. Strike 1. Burnett now just fighting to keep it tied. Good block by Posada. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, that's that breaking ball in the dirt we were talking about. But you know, on that double play, Joe, the only guy in the infield that could have gone home with the ball was the guy that it was hit to. And that was Mark Teixeira, who was the only infielder for the Yankees playing in.
Here's a 1-1 to Bay. He went around, strike 2. So now Burnett is 1 strike away from getting out of this. He allowed the leadoff home run by Ellsbury to tie it, a hit to Pedroia, a double by Ortiz high off the wall and left, hit Kevin Youkilis to load him up, but a double play ball off the bat of J.D. Drew, and now a 1-2 count on Jason Bay. Shot into left center field. Back is Gardner. He will watch it hit high off the wall. 2 runs driven in. Bay has made it 8-6 Boston.
That should be all for Burnett. A breaking ball. It just hangs in the middle of the plate. It was down, but a real hanger. Nope, still in there.
Lowell now with Bay at second, 2 out. A 3-run inning for Boston and a tailing fastball for strike 1. Lowell has struck out twice and really had a tough time with the curveballs from A.J. Burnett. Fastball and a line drive into right. Swisher is there to end the inning. Hard hit, but the final out. And we go to the 6th. 3 more for Boston, who trailed 6-0. They lead it 8-6. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV, is sponsored by AT&T, your world delivered. By Napa Auto Parts, Napa, get the good stuff. And by Bank of America. Show the world it's not like, it's love. Get MLB banking only from Bank of America. This game gets into the 6th inning, and the way it started into the bottom of the 4th inning, you would be shocked if you've been flipping around, looking at other things, if you're just getting back to this game. Are you surprised to see Boston's on top 8-6? Especially with the way A.J. Burnett was working early in this game. He looked like he was going to be tough just to get hits against, let alone runs, and he ends up going. It appears he's finished. 5 innings, 8 runs, 8 hits.
I'm surprised Josh Beckett is still out there. 104 pitches. Now he has the win if he leaves.
1 ball, 1 strike. Talking to Terry Francona before the game, he said our bullpen's in good shape. Everybody's pretty well rested, even with the 11-inning game last night. Del Carmen's been up twice now. They had the left-hander Hunter Jones up earlier, but it's still Beckett, who now leads by 2. Top of the order for New York, and the count 2-1 on Jeter, who is 2 for 3. Damon next, and then Teixeira. The 2-1. Drives Jeter off the plate to the delight of the fans here at Fenway, but a 3-1 count. Still life to that fastball for Beckett. That's foul, a full count. Jeter trying to restart the Yankee offense. Starts it with a walk. And for Beckett, walk number 4. Next week on Fox, don't miss it, as the Mets head south down the turnpike to take on the world champs, the Philadelphia Phillies. Mets and Phils next Saturday in high def, only on Fox. On the air, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, and even after the leadoff walk, Beckett is still in the ballgame.
And I'm more surprised.
Here's Damon. And a strike.
I think the point here, Terry Francona left Beckett in to throw the top of the 5th inning to reward him in case the Red Sox came back. They came back, and now Josh is still out there. So, if the pitch count's around 85 or something like that, you could understand it. But since it's around 100, the bullpen's been doing so well, I think you take him out here.
A check on Jeter, who has a decent-sized lead. With a count 0-1 on Damon. We heard in the interview we had with Francona that he thought Beckett came out of the gate a little too strong after the layoff, a couple of extra days, and now here he is at 110 pitches in his 4th start of the year. The 0-1 to Damon. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jeter on at first, talking to Euclid, teammates for the United States and the WBC. Here's a 1-1 to Damon. I have to admit, when the Yankees signed Johnny Damon to a 4-year deal that extends through this year, at the time I thought it was too long of a contract for a guy who looked to be fading. And when you look at his numbers in his 4 years with the Yankees, they are right there and compare very well to his time with the Boston Red Sox. And here he is starting the day hitting .315, still has some pop, actually has hit more home runs per year as a Yankee than he did with the Red Sox. 4 years with Boston, hit .295. He's been a .287 hitter with New York. On base percentage is about dead even. And at bats per RBI is right there. 1 every 8.3 at bats with Boston, 1 every 7.9 at bats with the Yankees. He has maintained that level. 35 years old, and he's up on the count here, 3-1. Well, that reward and that faith that Terry Francona has shown and given to Josh Beckett for what has been a long day may have extended a little long. And after a leadoff walk, the count's 3-1 on Damon, who is the tying run at the plate. And a strike. Hang on to the bat, Johnny. It's a full count.
Never say one pitch could be a game-turning pitch, but the Red Sox got the call there. Johnny Damon did not agree with it. He thought it was outside.
Beckett needs another strike. Damon wants to crack one. Full count and a foul. This Monday you can try a free piece of the new Kentucky grilled chicken, marinated and grilled to perfection for that 5-star fall off the bone taste. Taste the unfried side of KFC.
Fastball inside.
And Damon hits one in the air to right. Back is Drew at the wall, and this game is tied again. Johnny Damon goes deep, and it's 8-8 in the 6th.
Now there's no reward.
So Beckett, who got a reprieve because of what his teammates did in the bottom of the 4th and the bottom of the 5th, went back out for the top of the 6th with a 2-run lead. And Varitek first called outside, then inside, and here's what Damon did with it. So Beckett can't hang on to a 2-run lead. What a game. It's just another day at Fenway, folks. We got plenty more to come. Top of the 6th. Tied at 8. Del Carmen coming in. Well, here's Manny Del Carmen taking over. Mark Teixeira at the plate. Nobody on or out. 2 runs home for New York in an 8-8 game. Del Carmen has gone 9 1/3 innings, not allowing a run so far in 7 games. Part of a very good bullpen for Boston. Red Sox do miss the presence of Justin Masterson out there. He will get the ball again, his second start tomorrow night. And the former Boston Red Sox outfielder Johnny Damon just tied it with a 2-run shot off Beckett. And while we came in talking about the great pitching of 2 good right-handers, Beckett and Burnett, they both go 5. Beckett 5+ and allow 8 runs each. Strike 3 called on Teixeira. 1 out in the 6th. And a good start for Manny Del Carmen. Teixeira knew it. He was fooled by the pitch, and here is Nick Swisher, who's 1 for 3. This becomes a battle of the 2 bullpens, and going in, the Boston Red Sox have the advantage in that matchup. Mentioned 4 earned runs allowed over the last 33 and now 2/3 innings pitched by the bullpen. Ball 1 inside to Swisher.
Joe, you mentioned something last inning, talking about the different looks of the Red Sox guys in the bullpen. You got different looks from the left-handed pitchers down there, 3 left-handers, 4 right-handers. And Del Carmen, a guy who could, many think, and I do, I think he could be a stopper for a lot of teams.
Certainly got electric stuff. He's got that overpowering fastball. That's down toward the left field corner. Fair ball off the bat of Swisher, and an easy double with 1 out here in the 6th. And there's the go-ahead run for New York. Swisher, his second hit. He's 2 for 4 in this game. What a lift he's given this Yankees team, especially after they lost Xavier Nady for at least 6 weeks as he tries to rehab a partial tear in his right elbow.
2 outfielders that are of such help to the Yankees now. Nick Swisher and Melky Cabrera. Just 2 weeks ago, when the Yankees broke camp 2.5 weeks ago, they didn't think that Swisher and Cabrera would pay such dividends early in the season.
They also weren't sure that Alex Rodriguez would be ready to come back at the very latest mid-May. If all things continue in the path that they're on, and this Yankee team is biding time until one of the best players in the game comes back, as a good pitch in on the hands of Cano is fouled out of play. There's a big weapon missing down in that bullpen for the Yankees, though, and remember that as we get into the late innings, and that person is Brian Bruni, put on the disabled list with a bad elbow. And last night Rivera threw more than an inning. So the Yankees are a little short down there as they play on Saturday, an early part of the season here in 09, as strike 2 is by the bat of Robinson Cano. It's 0-2. Albaladejo pitched well last night. David Robertson is down there, just called up. Mark Melancon, who is a big time prospect is a rookie and could make his debut at some point this weekend here in Boston. Steven Jackson. These are the names that are in the bullpen now for New York. That's high. Ball one.
As opposed to the much more experienced Boston bullpen. Guys like Okajima and Javier Lopez.
Saito, who was the closer for the Dodgers, features a great slider. Papelbon is ready to pitch today if needed. Here's a 1-2. Left side for Lowell on a high hop, a long throw, and out as Youkilis came off the bag to make the tag. 2 away.
Good play by Kevin Youkilis on the tag. 2 excellent right-handed throwing first basemen in this game today. Mark Teixeira of the Yankees and Kevin Youkilis of the Red Sox.
Here's Posada. Jorge Posada 2 for 3, an RBI single his first time up. Glide to left his last time, now dealing with Manny Del Carmen. The Red Sox in the bottom of the 6th will have Varitek, Nick Green, and then Jacoby Ellsbury. 8, 9, and 1 against Jose Veras, who will take over for Burnett. Ball one. Swisher doubled with 1 out. He's at second with 2 out. Two and 0, the Hyundai in-game box score for the Yankees. The all-new 306 horsepower real-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Jeter a couple of hits, 2 runs. Big home run by Damon in this inning to tie it, a 2-run shot. Swisher a couple of hits. Cano with 4 RBIs, 2 hits, and an RBI for the man at the plate, Jorge Posada. Check swing, dangerous foul ball into the seats behind the plate. 2-1. Right over the head of Hideki Matsui and into the seats, which are right on top of the action here at Fenway Park. 2-1. Appears everybody's okay. Good pitch by Del Carmen. Changed up on Posada. It's 2-2.
Fastball count. And Del Carmen pulls the string.
"13 RBIs on the season for Posada. Damon with a 2-run shot here in the 6th. Just inside and a full count.
That's a good combination after throwing a changeup and a fastball count and then coming back with a fastball. Just misses inside.
Del Carmen gets Posada. Johnny Damon tied it. We are 8-8 into the bottom of the 6th. We welcome you back. Bottom of the 6th and the Flomax replay for today's game. Johnny Damon's home run that just tied it in the top of this 6th inning. Varitek called the pitch. Never caught it. Ellsbury went deep for the Red Sox in the bottom of the 5th. Couple of left-handed shots by a couple of left-handed hitting outfielders. And there's Damon. A look at the pitch. highlighted, and the home run over the wall in right to make it 8-8. And now Jose Veras fires a strike with Veritek showing bunt.
About that, he saw Angel Baroa at third base way back and was thinking about dropping one down. Good idea. He's still back there.
Veras is coming off a great outing. The foul backing out of play. 3 1/3 in relief of Sabathia on Wednesday. In that 14-inning win over the Oakland A's that ended on the home run by Melky Cabrera. So Joe Girardi gave him a couple of days to recover, and here he is on Saturday, pitching to Veritek, then Nick Green, then Jacoby Ellsbury. That's high ball 1. Veritek with the biggest swing of the day. A 2-out grand slam in the 4th made it 6-5. Red Sox got 3 in the bottom of the 5th to make it 8-6, and now the Yankees have tied it 8-8. Not close, and Posada looked like he was crossed up with nobody on base somehow, and the count's 2-2.
Normally, when a catcher goes out there after a pitch like this, it is a cross-up, and that was certainly the case. I think the reason, no harm, no foul, but the reason Posada went out there is to make sure if you do get a guy on second base or a runner on base, that doesn't happen. Could result in a wild pitch, pass ball, or what have you.
So the count 2-2. And a strikeout starts the bottom of the 6th. So a good start for the outing for Jose Veras.
Fastball out of the strike zone up. Most of your swinging strikeouts are on fastballs up or breaking balls down and out of the strike zone. You rarely, for instance, see a low fastball for a strike 3, a swinging strike 3.
Here is Nick Green, who at one point was a member of the Yankee organization and played in this rivalry for the Yankees back in '06. And Ken Rosenthal, he's getting a chance and making the most of it so far with the Red Sox.
Joe, he also spent all of last season in the Yankees organization, but he grew discouraged in spring training when he felt that Joe Girardi preferred Cody Ransom. Green had a terrible spring, a terrible season. His next step was to sign with the Red Sox. Now, it took injuries to 2 shortstops for him to get this chance, and Julio Lugo is expected back Monday. But here's Green with one last chance to prove to Joe Girardi that he's a better player than Cody Ransom.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Getting good rips. He's been hitting the ball very well. He has 3 straight 2-hit games. Julio Lugo tore the meniscus in his right knee during spring training. As Ken said, he's working his way back. Jed Lowry was the shortstop, suffered through a 1-for-18 stretch, and it turns out he needed surgery on his left wrist. Not season ending. They hope to get him back in the middle of the year as this pitch hits Green to put the go-ahead run on. And I think Green was more than willing, once that pitch was headed his way, more than willing to let it hit him.
Hit him in the left arm, and Nick appears to be all right. It appeared to be a breaking ball, a backup slider, or something of that nature.
Here is Ellsbury, who tied the game with a home run leading off in the 5th. Strike 1, and Jacoby got all of it. That made it 6-6. 2 more runs for Boston scored on a 2-out 2-run double by Bay. Made it 8-6 Boston. Then Johnny Damon tied it with a home run in the top of this frame. Here's a shot to left off the bat of Ellsbury, off the wall. Throw in towards second, too late. It's a double for Ellsbury. Second and third, one out.
When you're a runner at first base and there's a ball hit toward the monster, the one thing you do is check the outfielder's reaction. With Johnny Damon right there, the minute you see him turn toward the monster, you take off. That's how you gauge whether to go to third or not. Easy double, relatively easy double for Ellsbury. The key runner, the lead runner, Nick Green, going to third on that ball.
And now Pedroia with second and third, only one out. So you've got Pedroia up now. You've got a base open. You've got David Ortiz on deck, who did hit an opposite field double his last time up, but who has struggled with a bat so far this season. The first from Veras. Tried to overthrow it. Missed, ball one. Left-handed pitcher Phil Koch is getting loose for the Yankees in their bullpen. The 1-0 to Pedroia. 2-0.
Normally in a situation like this, and Joe Girardi as next catcher has a great feel for the flow of a game. But normally you'd play your infield at least halfway. But the way this game is going, you figure there's going to be a lot more runs scored. So that's why the Yankee infield's back now.
Coming into Pedroia to make it 2-1. The next from Veras, skips in there, not close, and a great block by Posada. 3-1.
It's like one of Lundqvist's plays with the Rangers. So you've got me a hockey fan. Right, if the Rangers beat the Caps, they play the Bruins, right?
Yeah, they have their next game 6, I believe, tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
Early start at the Garden. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Pedroia, full count. Any paying fan coming through the turnstiles when the Yankees and Red Sox get together, you're guaranteed to see action. You're guaranteed your stay at the park will not be a short one. Here's a 3-2 pitch, and that loads him up. And we'll see if Koch comes in to face David Ortiz, and he will. So after a strikeout to start the inning, Veras hit a batter, gave up a double, now a walk. Big Poppy coming up. Phil Koch coming out of the bullpen. Well, here is Phil Koch, the left-hander, right into the action. Bases loaded, one out. David Ortiz digging his way in. 8-8, bottom of the 6th. Ortiz 1 for 3, but struggling. Only 8 RBIs, no home runs. Strike one, he was up there ready to swing. This includes today, last 2+ games, 13 1/3 innings pitched for that Yankee bullpen, 229 pitches. And now Edouard Ramirez, a right-hander, getting loose. Here's the 0-1 to Ortiz. Checked his swing and a ball in the dirt. The shift is on the infield. The big part of it is that Baroa, the third baseman, is way off the line. Nick Green, the lead runner, could go halfway to the plate.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And there's no way Berroa can keep him from walking at least halfway down the line. Bases loaded, 1 out, 1-1 pitch. Almost hit him up and in, ball 2.
After the slider away, the fastball misses Ortiz inside. The rule of thumb, if you're the runner on at third base, is you try to go off as far as the third baseman is. So you're right, Nick Green could be down in there easily.
Strike 2 on Ortiz, who was really grinding. And in this spot for a guy who is counted on to be the anchor in this lineup, trying to come through against the Yankees. Over the years, he's hit 25 homers, driven in 90 against New York pitching. Bases loaded, 1 out, 2-2 pitch. Joe Girardi will have to rely on a lot of inexperienced pitchers coming out of his bullpen. Not just the rest of the way here today, but for the foreseeable future. The 2-2. In the dirt, full count. That's into shallow right. Swisher will drift, make the catch, almost dropped it. 1 runner scores. Pedroia is tagged out to end the inning, but the run counts as Nick Green touched home plate prior to Dustin Pedroia being tagged for the out.
You don't see that happen often, but that's a bad base running play by Dustin Pedroia.
The Red Sox, however, do have the lead. 9-8 on a sac fly by David Ortiz. Back to Boston after a word from your local Fox station. Bottom 3 in the order for the Yankees. Matsui first up against Del Carmen. 1-run lead now for Boston, 9-8. Matsui, Berroa, and Brett Gardner against Del Carmen, who relieved last inning, allowed a 1-out double to Swisher, but struck out 2. What an odd way for the bottom of the 6th inning to end.
Really?
With a double play on a sacrifice fly that scored 9-6 in a scorebook, with the throw from Swisher to Jeter, who tagged Pedroia just after the run had scored. Nick Green crossed home plate, and now Hideki Okajima, the left-hander, gets loose for Boston. Matsui is 0 for 3 and now 1 for 4, and the tying run is on with nobody out in the 7th, and we go back to that last out the way the 6th inning ended.
All types of frustration after this play develops. Watch Derek Jeter coming to your screen right in there. You can see Berroa going toward third. It looks like Jeter decoyed Pedroia, left the base open, and then went toward the base. Watch Big Papi's reaction. Hey, come back here. And then Pedroia is upset also. He knew that he made a base running blunder.
Here is Berroa, who drops a bunt down foul. Strike 1 on Angel Berroa. If you are just joining us, you look at Berroa head back to the plate. Here's what we've seen. The Yankees were rolling with a 6-0 lead. 4 of those runs driven in by Robinson Cano. And they had A.J. Burnett, who looked dominant on the mound. The Red Sox got 5 in the 4th, highlighted by a Veritek grand slam. 3 in the 5th, led at 8-6. Red Sox blow the 2-run lead. A 2-run home run by Johnny Damon in the 6th inning tied it. Bottom of the 6th inning, a sac fly by David Ortiz. has made it 9-8 Boston. The bunt is off, and Berroa fouls it back. Strike 2. Albaladejo, the right-hander, is getting loose. He was good last night. Edouard Ramirez had been getting loose earlier. Berroa 1 for 3. The 0-2. Angel stays alive. On deck is Brett Gardner. As we go down the line on the scoreboard here at Fenway. Top of the 7th. (9-8) Boston. Here's the 0-2. Berroa checked his swing on ball 1.
Give you an idea about how good a player Berroa was early in his career. He was the Rookie of the Year in the American League in 1973. Second in the voting that year was Hideki Matsui. Fifth was Mark Teixeira. And here they are, all three in the Yankee lineup tonight.
And there is a big discrepancy in the bank account of all three.
You're right.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to the left side. Lowell will get the lead man, and that's it. But Berroa does not advance the tying run into scoring position as he bounces into a 5-4 force out. Tomorrow, NASCAR on Fox moves to the Talladega Superspeedway, where Kyle Busch will try to defend his title against a full field of the world's best drivers. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing from Talladega begins tomorrow at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific in high def, only on Fox.
By the way, Joe, if I said 73, I was aging myself. At 2003, only 30 years later, Angel Berroa is not in his mid-50s.
1 on, 1 out, and a ball up and away. At the plate is Brett Gardner. Staying in the bullpen is Okajima. On deck is Jeter. And a 2-0 count from Del Carmen. Gardner so far has struck out, grounded out, and lined out to center. His average is down to 222. The guy who's pushing him is Melky Cabrera, and he's been hot. There's a strike from Del Carmen. Cabrera has been showing some pop. He's a switch hitting outfielder, and he is going to be counted on a lot more than originally expected. The legs of Matsui aren't completely healthy, and Xavier Nady is on the disabled list. Here comes a 2-1. That's strike 2.
Good fastball from Del Carmen. Yeah, Joe Girardi saying with a twinkle in his eye that competition is very healthy between Gardner and Cabrera.
He believes that they push each other. Cabrera's had a great attitude since being told he would not be an outfield starter as Gardner slaps at that pitch that was up and fouls it. It stays 2-2. Series will conclude tomorrow night with Andy Pettitte and Justin Masterson facing one another. The Yankees will be in Detroit after this weekend, and Boston goes on a road trip. First stop is Cleveland. A check on the runner Berroa. Now the 2-2 pitch is fouled again. In case you have wandered on your television, you don't have to wonder what New England did with their pick in the first round, 26. They traded it to Green Bay. Packers picked Clay Matthews, linebacker from USC, and 5 teams now have traded up in the first 26 picks of the 09 draft. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out. 1-run lead for Boston here in the 7th. And a check swing on a pitch down and in, full count. So Carmen had Okajima warming up behind him while he was pitching to Baroa. He's still getting loose, but with a right-handed hitter on deck, he may stay in. Here's a runner going, a base hit through the open left side. Baroa goes to third. Good piece of hitting by Brett Gardner, and now the tying run is 90 feet away. First and third, 1 out here in the 7th.
That's some inexperience on Nick Green's part. The thing you do with the runner running, you don't vacate your position. You can see Nick Green shading towards second base and moving about 2 steps. Now, I'm not sure if he makes that play anyway, in fairness. But the point is you hold your position, you come in a couple of steps, then see what the hitter does, and then go towards second base.
Instead, the base hit got through the left side. Baroa went to third, and now the Yankees have what they want. Tying run is at third, only 1 out. Go-ahead run at first, and Derek Jeter, who has been on base 3 times in this game, stands in. Good start to this season with a bat for Derek Jeter, hitting .306. And a foul off to the right.
Interesting thing, if Gardner were on at first and there were nobody on at third, he'd try to steal second base. But now if you try to steal second base and you're thrown out, then that's the second out of the inning. And you could lose the fly ball to tie the ball game. So that's what's going through Gardner's mind right now.
His presence also opens up that entire right side where Jeter likes to go. This one is in off his bat for strike 2. Nothing in 2 the count. First and third, 1 out. Del Carmen wants the strikeout. One ball, 2 strikes. On deck, the left-handed hitting Damon. In the bullpen, Okajima. But the battle now is Del Carmen against Jeter in a 1-run game. Nobody took the bait. The runners stay at first and third. The 1-2 is in under the hands of Jeter. 2-2.
Everything to Derek Jeter has been inside.
Check on Gardner. Derek Jeter so far this season with 11 RBIs. looking for his 260th hit against the Red Sox, including the postseason. Will they stay inside? They do. Runner goes. Throw down. Too late. Second and third with one out. Gardner got a great jump. No chance for Varitek, and a hit could give New York the lead.
Watch Varitek peek toward third base. No chance for Baroa coming in, since he represents the tying run. So Gardner waited, and finally stole second on the 2-2 pitch.
Runners at second and third, one out. Del Carmen steps off. Now Youkilis can move toward the bigger part of the field instead of having to guard against Gardner at first. Del Carmen's pounded Jeter in. 3-2 pitch and a big strikeout, 2 away. Third strikeout for Del Carmen, and that'll be his final pitch of this game.
Arguably the most important at bat of this game. Derek Jeter down on strikes on the fastball from Del Carmen.
3 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3 from Manny Del Carmen. That was a big out. Second and third, 2 out. Damon coming up. 10th game of the season for Hideki Okajima, and he comes in trying to protect a 1-run lead. It's 9-8 Boston, top of the 7th. Runners on at second and third, 2 out now for Johnny Damon, who tied the game in the 6th inning with a 2-run home run, hitting .326 to start the year. A strike over the outside corner in the 6th inning against Beckett. An 8-6 game became 8-8. Red Sox regain the lead with a run in the bottom of the 6th. Moments ago it was second and third, 1 out. Jeter struck out. Now Okajima misses with ball 1.
I'd say, well, with the left-hander Okajima, Joe Girardi has Melky Cabrera now, who's a switch hitter. You could bring the right-hander in to leave him in to play in the outfield. There are a lot of people in the American League think that Hideki Okajima is tougher on right-handers than he is on left-handers. That's why Damon's still in the game.
Pretty good rip there. The count 1-2.
Reason for that is against right-handed batters, Okajima has that split finger that goes away from him. And for the most part, against a left-hander, you rob him of that pitch.
Still 1-2. Red Sox in the bottom of this inning will have the 4, 5, and 6 batters. Youkilis, Drew, and Bay. And right now it's between Okajima and Damon as to what the scoreboard will look like. Great speed with the trail runner Gardner at second. 2 out. And a ground ball under the glove of Pedroia. The Gold Glove Award winner kicks it. 2-run score. Damon is safe at second, and the Yankees regain the lead.
I think if you ask Dustin Pedroia right now how he should have fielded that ball, I think he would have said that I should have backhanded it. Sometimes your feet get tangled when you're moving to your right, moving to your right, moving to your right. I think that's what happened. It's an error on Pedroia. But I think Dustin would have been better off trying to backhand that ball instead of getting in front of it.
First error of the season for Pedroia. Now a walk will be handed to Teixeira. 4th time he walks today. First intentional walk. And the Red Sox will turn Nick Swisher around and make him bat right-handed.
What is it about these two teams that make this happen all the time?
It just doesn't matter who's on the mound.
It doesn't. Doesn't matter whether it's regular season, postseason.
So the book on Del Carmen is closed, and those are two unearned runs that score against him. But he goes an inning and 2/3, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Pedroia, who's been just about automatic after that rough first month in the big league level, could not corral that hard hit ball to his right. And now Nick Swisher, with the Yankees up by a run, 10-9, stands in with runners at first and second and 2 out.
Yeah, that was an error on Pedroia, but you're right. I know your inference. It was a tough play.
So Johnny Damon has had a big last 2 at bats. 2-run home run in the 6th inning to tie it. Even though that goes down as an error, as they have Damon caught to end the inning. Damon's hard hit ball gives the Yankees their lead back. They haven't led since the bottom of the 5th. Just another day at Fenway. Time to stretch. Yankees up by 1. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV, sponsored by Cadawan, by Ortho Weed Be Gone Max, kills weeds not lawns, guaranteed, and by Kentucky Grilled Chicken. Get a 2-piece meal for just $3.99 in Unthink KFC. Here's Youkilis, and here come the Red Sox. Kevin Youkilis rips one down into the corner, and he starts the 7th inning with a double. Third time in a row he's been on base as he greets Alba Ladejo with a shot into the corner.
The only guy hitting the ball harder than Kevin Youkilis in the major leagues in April is Albert Pujols of the Cardinals. You mentioned the word laser earlier, and I don't think it's any more appropriate. You're talking about Youkilis or Pujols.
Here's J.D. Drew. Tying run at second with nobody out. 10-9 game. And a strike from the big right-hander who worked well in last night's game. Edouard Ramirez is back up. That's strike 2. On deck is Jason Bay. He's had a big game. J.D. Drew 0 for 1 with 2 walks and a run scored. Runner at second, nobody out, and a roller to the right side. Advances Youkilis. He's at third with 1 out. And that's our DirecTV game break. We go down to Chris Rose.
Yeah, Joe, Tim just mentioned him, Albert Pujols. And, you know, our buddy Dan Patrick always wonders who is BCW worthy, as in bathroom can wait. How about this guy? You're not going anywhere when he's up. His 2nd grand slam of the season, 8th of his career, 25 ribs, leads the big leagues. Cards take care of the Cubs 8-2. Watch your favorite out-of-market team on DirecTV. Joe?
How about 7 home runs for Pujols? Another grand slam, and he has just lit up on Fox Saturday Baseball so far this season.
I think a lot of people still contend that Alex Rodriguez is the best player in the game. I don't. I think Pujols has surpassed Rodriguez, not because of the injury or anything. I think that happened a couple of years ago, and I think Albert Pujols is the best player in baseball.
There's an intentional pass being handed to Jason Bay. Mike Lowell will bat with 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Interesting that leading by a run in the 7th, with what we've seen so far here today, that the Yankees and Joe Girardi would walk the go-ahead run on with 1 out here in the 7th inning and bring in Mike Lowell.
I think it's a good move. I mean, we talked earlier about Lowell not being as mobile as he was. He's never been a fast runner. I think he set up the double play, and instead of bringing the infield in with Bay hitting, you could put the infield in double play depth. There's a mild risk of walking the go-ahead run on, but I think the action outweighs the risk in this particular instance.
Euclid led off with a double, moved to third on the ground out by Drew, then the walk to Jason Bay, and here is Lowell, the only guy in each starting lineup who hasn't been on base yet today. Struck out twice and lined out against Burnett. First and third, 1 out. A distinct disadvantage for the Yankees and Joe Girardi as he is dealing with a bullpen that has 3 young guys that I'm sure he would like to at all costs avoid bringing into a game like this with this kind of pressure. That's in at the knees. Good fastball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Lowell thought the pitch was low, and you could see his point. Big difference hitting 2 balls and no strikes as opposed to 1 and 1.
Runners on at first and third, 1 out. And a check on Bay. Melanson is the young right-hander who was just called up. David Robertson and Steven Jackson are out in that bullpen. They have been seated so far for New York. The 1-1. Overpowering fastball. Lowell was late talking to himself. It's 1-2.
One thing Mike Lowell does best with 2 strikes is to hit the ball the other way. He's actually cultivated that type of approach since joining the Red Sox.
And a shot down the left field line. Into the corner. A 3-run home run, Lowell. 12-10 Boston. Fastball that Mike Lowell rode on out of here. Now he has been on base, but it wasn't for long. A 3-run shot. Back and forth we go. In the bottom of the 7th, it's now Boston up 12-10. Edouard Ramirez coming in out of the bullpen. Jonathan Albaladejo is in the dugout after being knocked out on the home run by Mike Lowell. 1/3 of an inning. 3 runs on 2 hits, a walk, and now Edouard Ramirez in a 12-10 game in favor of Boston. Jason Varitek with 1 out, nobody on. Varitek with a grand slam in this game, 1 for 3. And a strike from Ramirez. Yankees put Brian Bruni on the disabled list with a bad elbow. Here's a drive in a left field. Back is Damon for out number 2. And in a game like this, his presence, Brian Bruni's presence, is sorely missed by New York. Bruni went through a stretch where he retired 22 consecutive batters, and he had kind of taken over that primary setup role. But now with names like Al Baladejo, Edouard Ramirez, Jose Veras, and Koch, the Yankees have scored 10 runs and trail by 2. Here's a pitch for ball 1 to Nick Green.
Joe, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, the Yankees have the opening series at Yankee Stadium. They have all the home runs hit. They have the 14-inning game on Thursday. Last night's game, 11 innings. Today's game with 12 runs scored. How can you not feel that your bullpen is exhausted and it's April 25th?
Well, they look exhausted.
They do. They're pitching like they're exhausted.
Here's a 1-1. Hard hit, a couple of hops. Stays down on Jeter. Made a good play, and the inning is over. But big damage done, and it was Mike Lowell who gets in on the fun. The go-ahead 3-run shot. 12-10 Boston after 7. We go into the 8th inning here at Fenway Park. Yankees bat. Swisher is first up. Remember, Swisher was at the plate when Okajima picked off Damon to end the top of the 7th inning. Then the Red Sox went back to work. Double by Youkilis. Intentional walk to Bay. A 3-run shot by Lowell. And now Swisher pops it up into left center field, and Bay comes on to make the catch. 1 out. Swisher now 2 for 5, and it's time for our Bank of America fan cam. You want to show the world it's not like it's love? Get MLB banking only from Bank of America. We already talked about him. Arthur Gittin, who tomorrow turns 100 years old, was a 13-year-old bat boy for the Boston Braves back in the 20s. And here at Fenway Park, and still here at Fenway Park, from Bloomfield, Connecticut. And it's not Big Poppy, it's Big Pappy. And a strike is into Robinson Cano. Cano has hit a 2-run home run, a 2-run double. Here's a fly ball into right. Drew is back. Ball carrying at the wall. It's gone in a 1-run game. Second of the day for Robinson Cano. And it's 12-11 here in the 8th.
Talked about it earlier. He had a miserable April last year and is out of the chute so quickly. You think of where the Yankees would be without the bat of Robinson Cano.
He hit 151 last April. And that home run with 1 out here in the 8th inning, it appears, is going to chase Okajima with Jorge Posada coming up. Right-hander Ramon Ramirez has been getting loose. Back to the bullpen go the Red Sox. It's 12-11 Boston, top of the 8th. Jorge Posada coming up after the homer by Cano.
Outfield and the no doubles defense, no extra base hits.
On 3-2 with 1 out, a foul out of play.
See, the one thing the Red Sox love about Ramirez, he was traded for Coco Crisp from the Kansas City Royals. He's a high ball pitcher who doesn't give up a lot of home runs. He had 71 appearances last year, only 2 home runs allowed. So he can get the strikeout with a high fastball and yet doesn't give up that many long balls.
On 3-2, Posada takes a 1-out walk, and the tying run is on. sixth walk handed to the Yankees in this game. Ramon Ramirez comes out of the bullpen, walks the first batter he faces, and here is Hideki Matsui, who has 2 home runs on the season, 1 hit today, 1 for 4 with a single in the 7th. We're in the top of the 8th, 1 on 1 out. There's the tying run. First to Matsui, poured in for strike 1.
Posada is a slow runner. I don't think Kevin Youkilis holds the runner on in this situation. Matsui has grounded to the right side 3 times in his 4 at-bats today, and that hole is open on the right side. So if you get Youkilis off the bag, and that cuts down on that hole right there.
The 0-1, strike 2. On deck is Angel Baroa. The 0-2 pitch is hit in the air to center field. Back is Ellsbury at the wall. Off the wall. Posada will hold at third on a double by Matsui. And it's second and third, 1 out. And a good job of acting a little by Ellsbury in center as that ball was over his head, and Posada only went first to third on that shot off the wall.
I was thinking the same thing. That's a superb play by Ellsbury with a bit of a decoy right there. And now making the play on the carom on 1 hop and getting it quickly back into the infield.
Well, here's the one move that Joe Girardi can make. He's got a short bench. He's got an extra infielder in Ramiro Pena, who can take over at third for Baroa as Melky Cabrera will come off the bench. He's been hot. Second and third, 1 out. And the Yankees are a hit away from regaining the lead. That means the only other bench player for Girardi is Jose Molina, the other catcher. Cabrera with runners at second and third, 1 out. Strike 1.
Hitting coach for the Yankees, Kevin Long, has said that Melky Cabrera has moved up in the box this year, and he is really turning on that pitch inside.
Pitch is down for ball 1. Cabrera ended the homestand for the Yankees, their opening 6-game homestand, with a 2-homer game and a walk-off 14-inning home run to beat Oakland. That's back to the pitcher. Ramirez has Posada hung up between third and home. Good base running by Posada to allow not only Matsui to get to third, but Melky Cabrera to get down to second base. Posada is out. Second and third, 2 away. So the fielder's choice, and Ramirez fed Veritek, who took Posada back to the bag.
The good play, second and third, when you can tie the game. Posada and the Yankees hopeful that Ramirez messes the play up some way. Otherwise, you end up with second and third and 2 out also. Or anyway.
So now it's Brett Gardner. The pinch hitter, Melky Cabrera, who hit for Baroa. Ramiro Pena will take over at third, most likely. He's at second, and Gardner takes a ball up and away. Brett with a single, a stolen base, and a run scored last inning. Good speed with that go-ahead run at second base, 2 out, in the person of Melky Cabrera. The 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gardner with 3 RBIs on the season. Strike 2. A couple of high fastballs from Ramirez. Gardner can't lay off him, and now he's in the hole as Damaso Marte gets loose. Back up there again, another foul ball. Time called at the plate. 12-11. The Red Sox lead it. Here is a 1-2 pitch. Way up and away. Yankees have scored in every inning except 2, and the Red Sox have scored in every inning since the 4th. Ramon Ramirez is set in the 2-2. Ground ball. Pedroia to his right. Gloves and throws for the out. So only 1 run in the inning. On the second home run of the day by Cano. There's his first. There's his second off Okajima. 12-11 after 7.5. Boston on top. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV, sponsored by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. By Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. And by X-Men Origins, Wolverine. The summer begins this Friday, only in theaters. Edouard Ramirez deals outside, ball 1, top of the order, Jacoby Ellsbury, who has homered, doubled. Leading it off, bottom of the 8th, 12-11 Boston. Another wild game between the Yankees and Red Sox at Fenway. New third baseman, no surprise. It is Ramiro Pena, and only 1 bench player left for Girardi Jose Molina. His other catcher. Here's a 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Jonathan Papelbon getting loose. He'll be next. That is a foul ball, and Teixeira shows off how good that glove hand is. It's 2-2. Marte, the left-hander, joined by David Robertson. Here's a 2-2. Reached for it and popped it foul.
I think interference was called. I believe Posada interfered with Ellsbury, it was a funky swing right there. And with nobody on base, you always want to stay back as far as you can. And I think Ellsbury hit the mitt of Posada, so it'll be an error on Posada and no time at bat for Ellsbury.
So the leadoff man is on with nobody out for Pedroia.
I remember George Kissel, the great teacher of the Cardinals, used to say, with nobody on base, don't take a chance. Scoot back an inch or two more if you think there is any chance. Now, you know, with the runner on base, you have to be ready to throw, so it's understandable for a catcher to come out of there. But with nobody on base, it's not.
Red Sox trying to get a little more breathing room as they lead by 1 in the 8th. Pedroia not tipping his hand if he is up there to bunt with Ellsbury at first, Ortiz on deck.
He might do it. I don't think you bunt right here. Pedroia is too good a hitter. He's last year's MVP. Plus Ellsbury has great speed to steal.
Pena backs up at third. He was in, and that's upstairs, ball 1. Pedroia has been on base all 4 times. He's been to the plate. 2 walks, 2 singles. Did make a base running mistake in this game and committed an error that led to 2 runs back in the 7th.
Think about all the things that have happened, all the elements of the game that have taken place in here. See, 8 innings of a regular season game. One of the beauties of baseball. Extraordinary.
Ellsbury takes his lead, and Ramirez steps off. There he goes. Yankees pitch out. Throw down by Posada. Not in time. There'll be an argument. It looked like Cano got the glove down on the legs of Ellsbury, and Joe Girardi is out to argue with the second base umpire, Brian Onora.
Well, it's rare when a 1-ball and no strike pitch out occurs. A strong throw by Posada, but an errant throw, but a terrific tag by Cano, and it looked like he had him on the leg. In fact, he had him by about a step, even though Ellsbury went in there head first. Yeah, he was out.
So the Red Sox have a runner at second on catcher's interference, and then a stolen base with a missed call at second base. And now Pedroia with a 2-0 count. Nobody out in the inning. Ball 3. Pedroia 6 RBIs on the season. Takes a strike. After all this, the Red Sox have exactly what they want. A lead in the bottom of the 8th, a chance for more, and they have their closer Papelbon ready to go after working an inning last night. A Boston team that at one point trailed 6-0 with A.J. Burnett rolling on the mound. That's foul. Here's that tag at second base with the glove down on the legs of Ellsbury well before Jacoby got his hands on the bag. But safe was the call, and a 3-2 count now on Pedroia. On deck is Ortiz. Marte has been warming the last 2 innings. We may see another pitcher for the Yankees. Have gone through Burnett, Veras, Koch, Albaladejo. Now Edouard Ramirez, who finished off the 7th, working the 8th. And another 3-2 pitch, another foul ball. Tonight on Fox, Cops. I think we'll get at that a little after 8 Eastern, and then America's Most Wanted. 7:52 on the scoreboard clock here at Fenway. And a day dominated by hitting. We thought it would be dominated by pitching coming in with a matchup. Here's another base hit. Pedroia on base again. Throw by Gardner. Not in time. 13-11 Boston. And that'll be it for Edouard Ramirez.
Talk about a battle, and then on the 3-2 pitch, the 4th 3-2 pitch, Pedroia won against Ramirez.
Damaso Marte will come in after that high delivery ripped into center by Dustin Pedroia to score Ellsbury to make it 13-11 Boston here at Fenway in the bottom of the 8th. We had the chance to spend yesterday morning shooting a promo with Michael J. Fox, which was kind of the culmination of what has been a real effort and something that Fox Sports is very proud of. Proud to support the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research. It's dedicated to finding a cure for Parkinson's through an aggressive research program. To learn more, you can visit, and we ask you to, michaeljfox.org. He is an inspiration, a great guy to have a chance to meet. You and I had an enjoyable morning yesterday with him. And what a remarkable human being, is doing so much good. And he doesn't let anything slow him down.
No, he doesn't.
Damaso Marte will deal with David Ortiz. David with a sac fly, the front end of a unique double play back in the 6th. This one gets away. Down to second is Pedroia. We'll see if it's a wild pitch or a pass ball. It's a pass ball.
You talk about a rough inning for Jorge Posada already, and there's still no outs. Interference call, and then on a pitch out, a throw to the first base side. They did not get Ellsbury, even though the replay showed that he was out. And now the pass ball.
Last night Marte was on the mound in the bottom of the 11th when Kevin Youkilis took him out for the game winner, a 5-4 win. Here's a line drive into right at Swisher. Tagged by Pedroia. He goes to third and is there with 1 out. Good base running by Dustin Pedroia. And now with Youkilis coming up and the left-handed hitting J.D. Drew on deck, Joe Girardi calls for an intentional walk. So they will turn their ukes to boos for the Yankees approach with one of the fan favorites here at Fenway. This will put runners on at the corners with 1 out. And will bring J.D. Drew to the plate. The Yankees in the 9th inning against Papelbon will have the top of their lineup: Jeter, Damon, and Teixeira. If anybody gets on, Swisher, for a guy who has struggled of late, and Papelbon against the Yankees. There's ball 4. Last 10 appearances for Papelbon against the Yankees. 3 losses, a blown save, and an ERA over 9.5. Meanwhile, the bullpen for the Yankees, Joe Girardi just looks worn out, and his bullpen is worn out here on the 25th of April.
Posada now trying to communicate with Girardi in the bullpen, and Joe is talking about playing the infield halfway, I believe, because of the speed of Drew. If he hits a ball sharply to a middle infielder, you can't play in normal double play depth. And that's why Cano and Jeter are both in now.
Lead runner is Pedroia. Runner at first is Youkilis, and now a visit.
Now Cano and Jeter want to talk about exactly what they want to do. When you bring the infield in, that means that you've nullified the double play. Your play is going to be home. If you play it halfway, you still have the double play in order. Joe talking to Mick Kelleher.
Strike 1.
Mick, a good infielder, came up in the Cardinal chain and is responsible for instructions of the infielders.
Coming up on a 4-hour game here on Saturday at Fenway. 13-11 Boston. Strike 2. And talking to Joe Girardi, he did say that he thinks Marte in his effort last night, even though he got the loss, was the best he's thrown this season. Pretty good life to that high fastball by the bat of J.D. Drew, and the count's 0-2. Ball 1. Infield is in, 1 out, runners at the corners. 13-11 Boston. Drew takes ball 2 outside. 2-2. J.D. Drew has been on base twice, but those were with walks. He does not have a base hit in this game. Has bounced into a double play with the bases loaded, nobody out. Just up and away, a full count. Right-handed hitting Bay on deck. David Robertson getting ready in the bullpen. 3-2 to Drew. And a strikeout for out number 2. It is 8-1 in the East. We're about to have a pitching change. It would take to 9:01 to give you an entire recap of what we've seen here this afternoon. We have seen almost literally everything. From a grand slam down to a catcher's interference and whatever fits in between those two extremes. David Robertson will come in out of the bullpen. I'll read this graphic during the break, and we'll discuss it when we come back. Robertson into the game.
Robertson, the new pitcher. Did this game start yesterday, by the way?
4 o'clock one day. I think it was today, and it's almost exactly 4 hours from now that we started back this afternoon. It's a beautiful day weather-wise, and fans have had fun. They've seen everything, and at some point, as we play here in the bottom of the 8th inning, 1st and 3rd, 2-out Bay coming up. Robertson into the game. They'll watch Papelbon come out of that bullpen and try and save it. And then think about the big picture for the Yankees. Last night, they come on the road to Fenway Park. They come off their first homestand. They have a 2-run lead that they have in the hands of Mariano Rivera. He gives up a 2-out, 2-run, game-tying home run to this man, Jason Bay. Youkilis wins it in the 11th, so a heartbreaking loss last night. And then today, a 6-0 lead behind A.J. Burnett, who was rolling and looked like he had brought his best stuff to the park here today. Well, 5 runs in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 3 more in the 7th. 1 here in the 8th, a 13-11 lead. The Yankees are in danger of dropping 2 tough ones here at Fenway Park to start this series, with Masterson and Pettit going tomorrow night. Here comes a 1-0 from Robertson. 2-0 with first and third 2 out. Add to that insult all of the injury that the Yankees have had to endure here in the first month of the season. And it's been a rough start, even though the Yankees begin the day 2 games over 500, just 3 games out in the AL East behind Toronto. 2-1 on Bay. Toronto took it to the White Sox last night. They're leading again tonight. Pitch is high, 3-1. Lowell on deck. That combination of Pedroia and Youkilis, the runners on, and a 3-1 pitch to Bay. Right down the middle, 3-2. Again, top of the order for New York in the 9th inning, so this one is not over. Papelbon getting ready. Robertson trying to keep it a 2-run game. And that loads him up. And here's Lowell, who did not reach base until his last plate appearance, when against Albaladejo hit a 3-run home run down the left field line to put the Red Sox back on top. That made it 12-10. It's now 13-11. Strike 1, and here's what it looked like. Somehow that ball stayed fair.
And somehow, somehow he kept it fair by bringing the hands in. And a huge hit to give the Red Sox the lead.
Here's the 0-1 and a shot in the air to left field. Back is Damon at the wall. Cannot make the catch. All 3 runs are going to score. Big day for Mike Lowell. And it's 16-11 here in the 8th.
Now it takes a Red Sox fan to realize the extent that Johnny Damon will go to make a catch. You could hear it clanging around, rattling. Johnny appears to be okay. Well, look back at that frightening collision that he had with Damian Jackson back in 2003. October 6th, 2003 in the division series, when he collided with Damian Jackson. But Johnny appears to be okay.
Here is Varitek now. 16-11. And all of the scoring for the Red Sox since the 4th. 5 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, 4 in the 8th. Leading by 5 now, their biggest lead of the day. And the count 1-1. And we said it back when A.J. Burnett left after 5 that in a battle of the bullpens, the Red Sox would have the advantage, and these arms, young and old for the Yankees, have been knocked around coming out of the pen here at Fenway. 2 balls and a strike on Varitek, who hit a grand slam to catapult the Red Sox back into the game in the fourth. 38 runs total allowed by the Yankees between the last 2 Saturdays. Varitek out in front, hooks it foul. 2-2. You talked about that collision between Johnny Damon and Damian Jackson, the division series out in Oakland.
Pedro Martinez was pitching that night, and Johnny and Damian colliding. Oh man. That was when Johnny was a member of the Red Sox. Johnny suffering a concussion, blurred vision, 9 months of pain and headaches after that collision.
Mike Lowell did not have a hit until the 7th. His last 2 at bats, he's driven in 6 runs to tie a career high for RBIs in a game. 3-run home run in the 7th, a 3-run double with 2 out here in the 8th. And a 5-run Boston lead, a chance for more, a 3-2 pitch to Varitek. And strike 3 ends the inning. We go into the 9th inning. Papelbon is ready to go. Will he appear? 16-11 Boston. Here is Jonathan Papelbon, who will work the 9th inning. Red Sox up by 5 with the top of the order coming up for the Yankees. Jeter, Damon, and Teixeira. Hey, by the way, while we have a minute, while Papelbon continues to get loose, all of us with our crew and at Fox Sports want to send our best wishes and a speedy recovery to Bob Tomaselli, who is our low first camera operator, hit in the eye during pregame warm-ups. Went immediately to the hospital, and we understand is doing relatively well, resting back at home. So our thoughts are with you and anxious to get you back out to the ballpark as Papelbon will work the 9th inning. Okajima would be the winner. Albaladejo would get the loss. No save opportunity for Papelbon, but he's just trying to end a long day at the ballpark and restore a little order as Derek Jeter, who's been on base 3 times with 2 hits, a walks, stole a base, scored 2 runs, is first up. From Beckett to Del Carmen to Okajima to Ramirez and now Papelbon. The first to Jeter, in for strike 1.
Tells you something about this game, Joe, when at least 3 Yankee hitters will hit 6 times in this game, and yet the Yankees still are losing by 5
in a 16-11 game. Here's an 0-1 to Jeter, hitting .301. He takes a ball up and in. Meanwhile, the Yankees started with Burnett, went to Veras, Koch, Albaladejo, Edouard Ramirez, Marte, Robertson. The 1-1 pitch from Papelbon, with flash bulbs popping around this ballpark.
I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, normally you see all the flash bulbs at the beginning of a game, beginning certainly of a big game. Now here we're seeing it in the top of the 9th inning of a 16-11 game.
Well, they've been waiting.
Jeter and Papelbon confrontation.
Here's a 2-1. 2-2.
Not just an isolated incident. I mean, they continue. There we go.
So a 2-2 count on Jeter.
Did you hear that line? Some guy just yelled that foul ball that Jeter just hit. It would have been a home run in your stadium.
I heard him.
Oh, that's classic. What a great line.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Jeter, leading it off in the 9th. And a ball outside. 3-2. With these flash balls popping, this is like dipped into the surreal here.
Yeah, it is. It
odd.
has. Yeah. Slider just misses from Papelbon.
Here's a 3-2. Mention those numbers for Papelbon against the Yankees. Might be hard to believe for a guy who's been dominant since he got to the big leagues, but the last 10 appearances, 3 losses, a blown save, an ERA of 9.64 against the Yankees, and opponents have hit .366 the last 10 games that Papelbon has faced the Yankee hitters, allowing a couple of home runs along the way. Here is another 3-2 pitch and another foul ball. So the next to Johnny Damon, with Teixeira to hit after Damon is high. 2-1. Yankees trying to stay after it and trying to rally against Jonathan Papelbon. A leadoff walk, now a 2-1 pitch. Damon with a little flare that's caught by Nick Green, the shortstop. 1 out. And here comes Teixeira. The producer of today's game, Pete Macheska. The director is Bill Webb. Associate director is Fran Morrison. The broadcast associate, Brian Biederman. Technical producer, Sid Drexler. And the technical director is Jonathan Evans. Pre-game show produced by Don Bowie. The highlights coordinator is Janice Kazaza. The technical supervisor, Jack Simmons. The senior producer of Fox Sports, Bill Brown, and the executive producers are David Hill and Ed Gorin. Thanks to Steve Horn, our editorial consultant in the booth. And Dave Schwalbe, our stage manager. First pitch is strike 2, Teixeira. Wayne Fiddleman, who is working the numbers down in the truck as well. Papelbon with that glare in, ready with an 0-1 pitch. Strike 2. Nothing in 2 on Teixeira. Through all this, Teixeira does not have a hit. He has been walked 4 times. The 0-2. Skips in. Ball 1. Up over 1,000 hits in his career is Teixeira. Without a big rally here in the 9th inning, the Yankees will be trying to avoid a sweep. The Red Sox will try and give it to them tomorrow night behind Masterson. Runner at second, one out. That's Jeter out there, and ball 2 evens the count to Teixeira. That's high. Ball 3, 3-2. So nothing's easy in any half inning, and even with Papelbon on the mound, he's struggling to throw strikes. Teixeira could walk for the 5th time in this game. A 3-2 pitch. And a foul ball. You know, when you think about this Yankee bullpen and the pitching in general and the rotation for Joe Girardi, you've got Chin-Ming Wong trying to rehabilitate and get more strength in his legs. You've got Phil Hughes, who likely, it hasn't been announced, but likely could get the start on Tuesday in Detroit, pitching very well with a 3-0 record at AAA, an ERA of 1.8. I want to get Ken Rosenthal in on the discussion about this Yankee pitching situation, but they're going to need help for their bullpen here at some point, especially if Bruni is lost for an extended period of time. Another foul ball. You wonder, Ken Rosenthal, if that will resurrect the talk of moving Jabba Chamberlain out of the rotation where he's been okay and back into the bullpen where in his big league career he's been dominant.
Joe, a couple of things would have to happen for that to become realistic. One, Bruni would have to be out for some time. They think it might only be 15 days. 2, Hughes would have to pitch really well. But ultimately, they're going to need to address that bullpen somehow. In short term, there are a number of relievers out there who have been designated for assignment. One of them, a former Yankee, Luis Vizcaino. Perhaps one of those guys could help.
Now a walk by Papelbon to Teixeira, who walks for the 5th time in this game. 2 walks in the inning. The Yankees aren't finished yet as Nick Swisher will step in.
You can realize the plight of the bullpen when, if that's true, that what Ken just said, signing guys who have been let go from other teams in April, that's alarming.
Well, they've had to dip down already so many times to their minor leagues to try and just find guys. And it's been a shuttle already. We saw Anthony Claggett come into a game last week on Saturday, not fare well, get sent right out. And now the young guys like Steven Jackson and Robertson, they're back up as Swisher fouls one straight back. Robinson, Cano on deck. Mark Melancon is a young guy that they like a lot, who they've called up. I think he's got a chance. Didn't have a great spring, off to a good start in the minor leagues. They may have to here shortly see what they have in him as Swisher fouls it for strike 2. The situation for Terry Francona is different. He's got options. Not only does he have Papelbon, but he's got Takashi Saito, who has closed games and done so very well for the Dodgers. And if this is a long outing and it's already into that neighborhood for Papelbon tomorrow night, if he needs to give Papelbon a night off, Saito is another guy who can close a game, already has during this past week for the Red Sox.
Guy who saved 34 games for the Dodgers 2 years ago.
Here comes an 0-2 pitch to Swisher, 2 on with 1 out, and a strikeout. That splitter in the dirt, 2 away.
Papelbon does not rely on that pitch that often, but uses it very effectively against Swisher.
So Cano is at this point trying to add to what is a tremendous game here at Fenway Park. He's hit 2 homers. He's driven in 5. He's got 3 extra base hits. And he bats with 2 on, 2 out in the 9th. Ball 1. Last night 11 innings. Boston won it 5-4. Tonight / this afternoon staring at a 9-inning game, but a game that has seen 27 runs cross the plate to this point. 16 for the Red Sox. Here's a 1-0 to Robinson Cano. Strike 1.
Cano taking all the way.
Posada on deck. The Yankees need 2 more base runners to have a chance. 2 on with 2 out, down by 5. Top of the 9th. 1-1 pitch from Papelbon. They've chased a high delivery. Strike 2. And this crowd, which has seen a lot of action here this afternoon and into tonight, to its feet, hoping this will be the last pitch in what is a 4-hour 18-minute game to this point. Blocked by Veritek, who's had a long day. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes on Cano. Red Sox up by 5 and another foul. 95 out of the right hand of Jonathan Papelbon. Cano, who was added to a career mark of 351. That's his average here at Fenway Park. Another 2-2 pitch from Jonathan Papelbon on its way. And a foul tip keeps the game alive. Cano just got a piece of a good pitch down from Papelbon.
Game can't go forever.
I think that's the same guy who said that ball would have been a home run in your park. He just yelled out, "This game could go on forever."
2 balls, 2 strikes. And a pop-up, shallow left center field. Coming to get it, Ellsbury. He's there. Red Sox win 16-11. We'll come back to Boston and Fenway Park to wrap up a long day of baseball. Final score, Boston 16, Yankees 11. Back after this from your local Fox station. There's the final. Boston wins it. 4 hour, 21 minutes. That's what it took. Same as last night's game and same result as the Red Sox have won the first 2 games of this series. 16-11 today. Tomorrow, don't miss NASCAR Sprint Cup racing from Talladega starting at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Next week, Fox Saturday Baseball, May 2nd, presented by DirecTV. Mets at Phillies, Astros at Braves, the Indians at the Tigers. All starts at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. For more information on today's game and for the latest information on Major League Baseball, log on to foxsports.com, powered by MSN, the world's favorite sports site. Now for Tim McCarver, Ken Rosenthal, and Chris Rose. Joe Buck, so long from Boston. You've been watching Fox Sports, your home for the 2009 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Red Sox win it by 5.
Danger looms at the baddest track on the planet. Live from Talladega, tomorrow, 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, on Fox.
This has been a presentation of Fox Sports. Home to the All-Star Game, the American League Championship Series, and the World Series. America's grand game is on Fox.
We are